until it was too late either, and I was like, oh crap.
I don't remember what Skype looks like.
It's alright. We're back. Tropical. Take it
We're
away.
back.
Bows
Something
and
about
things.
Talk about how much you
bows.
love bows and
I love
how
bows in
and
Destiny. They're
different area
awesome.
codes and all that stuff.
I like to shoot people in the face.
Healthy.
Well, so it's really cool. Like, bows get you a kill in 2 shots, and one of them has to be a headshot, and then the other one can be whatever. So what you do, or what I do, is I, try really hard to get that first headshot, and then just like,
Chase him down with the bow.
sort of nonchalant draw the string and just try to hit them with the second one. And it doesn't matter where it hits them, and they just die. It's like, that's so fun. I don't remember what else I said about this. I would like one of the, what are they called? Exotics. I would like an exotic bow just to see what it's like. But really, I got a bow pretty... It wasn't the first bow that Petra gives you. It was a second bow. And I think they're both the same. They're both the bows that do more damage rather than are quicker to the draw.
Or have some kind of weird powers.
Yeah, I think so. I've heard that the exotic bow. What does it do?
The Wishinder?
No, the other one.
The ghoul thingy?
Is it like it splits into 3 or something? I don't remember.
I haven't got that one, so I don't know.
Okay.
That's the one I want.
Yeah, I have 2. Oh no, it's the chain lightning one.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that's the one. I have no idea how to get it. I haven't seen it anywhere. So the other one is a raid bow, you said?
No. It's
Oh.
weird. Okay, so that one, because I just got it this week. Basically, okay. Well, I guess we'll back up on Destiny 2 because I kind of forgot. Man, it's been a long time. Okay, Tropical, I will let you continue Destiny 2 and like come back because there's like actually stuff I gotta like talk about because they have like changed it fundamentally a lot from D1 and like completely forgot
Okay.
about all the things that they changed. And especially like this whole like story loop that we're on now, where it's just like Groundhog Day and it's like, oh, the streaming city's cursed. What happened? Oh, nothing. Oh, maybe we'll change it more this week. Oh, it didn't. Oh, nothing happened. But hey, whatever. Anyway, back to the bow. So to get that bow,
I actually haven't gotten to the Dreaming City
what?
yet.
Wow, Tropical. Wow. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not even gonna say anything.
Thanks.
So, well, you remember the first week when you were saying, it sort of sucks, like, in between the Barons, there are times where you have to grind some because you're not powerful enough.
Mm-hmm.
I got to the point where you have to hunt the Barons, and usually, like, that's the thing that happens to me in games. You get to the point where it's like, go out, go do these things. The Final Fantasy VII has that part. That's the only one I can think of, where it's just like the world opens up, and then that's the point where I'm usually like, that seems exhausting. Then I don't do it. And so in Destiny, when I got to go hunt the Barons, I'm like, can't they just come try to kill me or something? And it's like, screw it. And so I just went and played, Crucible and Gambit, like, over and over and over and over and over again. And then I was like 520 something power. And I was like, I should go try to get to this Dreaming City thing. And I went back and fought the Barons then. And it was like, they were nothing. It was way easier. But yeah, okay, so how do you get that?
Okay, so the bow that lets you like see through walls, that's like the Wishinder. It's exotic. So basically, there's a dungeon because it's called a dungeon. Whatever, people are calling it a dungeon.
Mm.
But basically, it's like this hidden portal realm place in the Dreaming City that you go to, and there's a set of encounters, and you basically go through it, get to the end, and you clear it, but then after that, it gives you a quest line, a mini quest line, let's say. It's still a quest line, though, because you have to like go somewhere else, do other things, then come back and do Shattered Throne again, which is the name of the dungeon. Like, I was kind of super furious, honestly, when I like got this, because I thought you just had to finish this stupid dungeon. I did this like on Monday before reset, and so I was doing it, and then I was like, okay, gamer, like, okay, what's the next step? And he's like, oh, you have to go to Tangled Shore and find this hidden quest thing or something. Because basically, the thing that you're finding, there's like a Tolan, well, Tropical Nox hasn't been in the Ascendant Realm. But in the Ascendant Realm, like, sometimes Tolan, well, Tolan's always in there, actually. He's like this little, it's like the little orb from the Oryx raid. Like, it'll, like, be one of those thingies. And it'll, like, you'll walk up, like, you'll walk up to it and it'll start talking to you because it's Toland. But then you had to find one on the Tangled Shore, basically. And it's like you walk up to it and you hold down square and it's just like question mark, question mark, question mark. And then under it, where it usually has like a description, it's also question mark, question mark, question mark. So, I mean, I was only like less infuriated because I had already, like, I was doing it with people that had already done this. So it's like I didn't have to like jump through all these effing hoops, which is like my main gripe right now in Disney. Is like when there's all this crap that's like, oh man, this thing's really cool, but it's like to get to it, you gotta jump through hoops. Ha ha, dance monkey dance. And then so yeah, we did like that part. There's like this part where you kill things, and then like they drop these tokens, but then you gotta charge the tokens, which is why I gotta do Shattered Throne after you do it the first time. But then it's stupid. I'm sorry, I'm getting like ragey now. But anyway, you can't just charge them.
Classic Destiny.
And playing the thing again. No, there's like these secret hidden, but they're not really hidden. But there's like these orbs that you don't know are there because like you know who f's around. I mean, that's that's kind of like my main thing with the game right now is like all these stupid like air quote secrets in the game, and it's just like, dude, I'm just playing the game. I just go through and like I follow the path I'm on. I'm not someone who's like, oh, let me just hug the wall for like 1,000 yards, 1,000 miles, and be like, let's see if there's any hidden entrances. Oh, where's this go? Like all the things I find that are like don't find, I should say, like all the things I'm doing that people have like already found. I'm just like, how the f did these effing people effing find these effing things that were just so effing like. And then, like, you find it, and then after you find it, there's some, like, obtuse thing of, like, oh, you gotta, like, dunk it in this rift that's, like, over here and hidden. It's like, dude, it's like, could we just get back to straightforward gameplays? Like, that's all I want? It's like, okay, I guess it's kind of cool, and I kind of respect the fact there's all these secrets and whatever, but it's like, the asinine just, like, obtuseness of just, like, dear. So, like, basically, you go back to Shattered Throne, and there's, like, these 3 orbs. You gotta find them, and then you have to, like, dunk them and, like, kill these things and, like, charge these coins. And then after you charge the coins, you gotta go back to... Well, you don't go back because you're going through it again. But you get to this part where you had been before, where you deposited your little statue thing when you first get to the Dreaming City that you had to charge before you get to the Dreaming City, which is a whole thing. I effing, like, forgot about that, and then every time I'm reminded of it, I'm just like, oh, this effing game! Because, like, before you get to the Dreaming City, you basically have to, like, jump through so many hoops after you kill the Barons, which is, like, a whole thing in itself. And then you gotta get these effing things to, like, charge your effing thing to get to the Dreaming City, and it's just like, why? And then, after you get to Dream City and you try to throw it the second time, when we're doing it for this effing stupid bow and arrow thing, you deposit your thing that or the first time you deposit it, and then like you're going through the second time, and then you get to that point again, and you get that's where like you pull down square and like get the thing. But then, that's not the end of it, Tropical, because the within the bow basically lets you see, actually, well, it doesn't let you see hidden eggs, but there are these eggs, and like, you can only destroy them with the vision about. And so, the game's on like a 6-week rotation of like the Ascendant Realm. So, if you've missed one, and you don't have the bow, at some point, you're gonna have to go 6 weeks through, doing all that shit, and being like, oh man, I better not miss it. I better not miss rotation. I hope I don't get sick, because I was sick like a week or 2 ago when like Titan was like the flashpoint, and there's like one of the titles, which is what I wanted in the game. But I say wanted past tense because f that crap now. I'm done. I'm over it. Like it hadn't been Titan yet, so I couldn't do the Heroic Adventures because you can only do the Heroic Adventures except for like Mars and Mercury or something when it's the flashpoint, because you know Destiny. And then I got sick, so I couldn't play that week, and I just missed it. And then I was like, you know what? F titles. I don't effing care anymore. F this effing game. And I was just over it. And then with effing the Wishender, it's like, there's the Ascendant Realm challenges that Petra gives you every week, and there's like 6 of them, and it's on a weekly rotation. You can't get it all up front, because, you know, we can't just like burn through the content before they can make it. Thanks, Live Team. And so, effing each ascendant realm has like I don't know how many of these egg things you can only shoot with the bow to like get, because I guess it's a triumph. Whatever, I don't care. I'm over it. Then there's like also some in the raid, but then effing going back to the obtuseness of this effing game, there are wishes that you can put in before the raid in some contraption thing. I have a share button of it. I'll upload it. It's so effing asinine. Where you just like put in all these symbols that are in the raid. That's a whole other thing. Don't even get me started on circlefish. Don't even get me started on circlefish. And then
Goldfish?
don't get me started, PG. And
I
then
kind of want to get you started.
and then you put those effing codes in, and it's like they do different things. Like one of them gets you. Oh my gosh! I'm sorry. I'm about to like rage. But I'm trying to hold it back, guys. I'm trying to hold it back. I'm trying to hold it
I
back.
kind of want to hear this because I'm
Okay.
curious.
In the effing raid, usually in the Destiny raid, when you get to the end and you kill the boss drops effing loot. In this one, you kill them, they drop a key. And guess what? You're not done after you beat the boss, because there's a effing... Okay, there's an effing escort mission as the final effing section of the effing raid, where you have to take Riven's heart, and you escort it a certain point, and then after you escort it and you dunk the effing heart and you get it effing cleansed by the flipping wizard, the tech witches, techions, and they take it, you're in a chest room, and it's kind of like General Knox's armory, because it's like, ha 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 ha, F you, we gave you one key and there's like 20 in here, have fun. And then that's how you get the exotic weapon from the raid. You have like a 1 in 20 chance if you have one key. And then it's like, oh, ho, ho, ho,
So wait,
you
do
might
they
get
all
it, but you
not give
probably
you
won't.
something?
What RPG?
Do they all not give you something if you open it, or
They do, but like you don't want that crap because you already got those crappy drops when you did the effing raid. So it's like, I want my effing exotic, and then Gamer hasn't got it yet. So it's like this is like the only part that's like, okay, sorry Gamer, but like it does kind of bring me joy because it's like he suffers every week and he's like, I'm never going to get it, I'm never going to get it, and then just like to see him like not get it, it kind of just like, you know, it's like, look, everyone you have to keep playing, hee. And then, you know, I was the smart one who was like, you know what, this game has effed me how many times? I'm not using my key. And then I got the 5 keys and it was like, 5 keys max taken. You can't stack anymore. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'll use them. And then I got it. And I was like, ha ha ha, 1,000 voices is mine. And like, after I got it, like my 5 keys stacked the first time. Haha. And then like Gamer had 4 yesterday and he like opened 4 and didn't get it. So he's still like, out of here.
it's like Gallahorn all over
And
again?
then it's like it's like such an epic troll though. It's like, why would you do that to us? It's like, to me, it's like I know I have a tweet somewhere on Twitter where it's like I tweeted about this. I was like, they're gonna ream us so hard in like whatever Forsaken was going to what eventually turn it into, with like all these stupid things because of all the feedback that we gave them, and they're anyway, and like the game, and it just turned toxic. It's just like Destiny, oh the worst. F this game, F this 7, and then the irony is we're still effing playing it. It's like I'm still effing playing the 7 game. I got the flipping whatever this pass that was like annual pass with like all the expansions, and just like, you know, I thought, you know, I mean, that being said, after the first month and I wasn't at the level cap, I was like, you know what, this might be a sea change. I might get there and still have things to do and still be coming back to it. And then I got to 600. I was like, you know what, F this game. I don't care anymore. It's like I'm done, dude. Like I'm done. I don't. I mean, I'm glad the random rolls on weapons are back, but it's like not enough to draw me back every week. I'm just done, because it's like, you know, again, I came to the epiphany of like, eventually you just get to the point where it's like, it's good enough, man. It's effing good enough. It's like the golden knowledge that I learned from what's that movie called? Wow, what's the vampire movie by Quentin Tarantino?
From Dusk to
Yes,
Dawn?
the golden knowledge that I learned from Dusk Till Dawn, in the monologue that one dude has, and he's like, just know when you won, man. Just know when you won. It's like, you gotta know when to back away, Tech, and just know when to walk down. It's like, there's nothing more for you here. I mean, yeah, there's more exotics and crap, but do you really need to take it? Do you really need the game is like effed me so much already. It's like, you know what? It kind of has effed me. It's like, I'm not gonna keep effing myself. So it's like, yeah.
That's kind of a horrible mechanic, though. It's like after you go through all that
It is.
trouble on a raid,
That's
now
why I was
you're
like,
like,
why did they put
haha,
this in here?
but you can't get your
It's
final
like,
loot
it's
thing.
like a giant
because-
F you, dude. Because it's like, on top of like not getting things, like I'm still missing like the effing bow that like Zaro got the first effing time we cleared something, and it's like, oh, that's not even the thing, dude. So it's like, okay, So here's the thing about the raid weapons. It's like since there's random rolls, it's like there's like a masterwork version, which is the air quote curated Bungie edition, which is like really awesome. And then there's just like random roll versions of them, which are not masterwork, and it's just like, oh, it might have like random perks on it that are crap, like the flippin' Techion Force, whatever the F fusion rifle I got last week, which was complete garbage. And it's like, oh, it's 600, so I could infuse it. But then it's like, where I'm at in the game right now, I'm like, you know what? If I don't get something to drop at 600, so I can just use Glimmer to infuse it, I'm not gonna bother because like the flippin' material economy is borked like so much of the effing game. So I'm just like, you know what? No, F you. I'm not gonna do this. I'm just gonna dismantle it, and then like keep the materials because I'm like, if it's not a weapon I care about, because it's like, why would I infuse this if the materials are so? They made it like I mean, they didn't make it like this new one, but like they kind of like, you know, made it more severe if you want to go like infuse things, and like it's torture. It's torture now. Like it's like in the short term, it was like, oh man, Destiny 2 really turned it around, but in the long term, it's like, no, this game is. This is like walking into a BDSM club and being like, yes, Bungie, do all the things I will never say. I will never say the safe word. I'll never say it. Do everything you want to me. I will never. Blah, blah, blah.
Oh
And
my.
just flog me all you want and rape me all you want and do all the things. Yes, Bungie.
I need an adult.
So we were. I'm sorry. I had to go there.
So like, I mean, I just, I don't know how to respond to this because so many things,
But yeah, it's
Especially-
like, you know, that's how
especially
my
now that you
relationship
have
with
a
the game has
girlfriend,
changed.
it's like,
from
oh.
like, you know, I kind of like the grind. This is a good grind, to where it's like, the grind is the grind is brutal. Oh, Destiny 2. Oh, getting up to max level. Getting the powerful gear every week. Well, I get the thing. Oh wait, all the weapons are the same, so it's not as bad, I guess. But then you're like not needing anything, and now it's just like, you know what? I'm not coming into your weird pleasure room, Destiny. Not doing it anymore because I've been there and I've done it, and I'll take when I did that. But now I'm not into all that weird stuff that you're into now, and I'm good. I don't need it. I don't need to do this to myself. I know when I've won, and I'm walking away. So yeah, it's like it like F's you. Like every turn, it feels like the game is like effing you now. It's just like, it's like, oh, what's that? You need to infuse your weapons. Well, you should go get some planetary materials. Have fun getting the spin medal again, because that's kind of what it is. And it's like, oh, but you could do bounties and you could do like 10 at a time. It's like, dude, nobody wants to do bounties. Nobody wants to do bounties. It's like, you know, it's like all the things that they said like before it came out. I was like, oh, we've like improved the lost sectors to where people want to do them again. It's like, you kind of just gated all the stuff that we need behind it, and now we kind of have to do it. And it's like, that's not the same thing, dude. Like, no, I'm good. I'm done. I'm just like, yep, after this game, just nope. Just a bag of nope. That's what it is now. It used to be Destiny too much time. Now it's just a bag of nope, because I just load in the game and I raid every week with a raid team. Everything else, I'm like, nope, nobody, nope. Like everybody would say, it's like F this effing game and effing BDSM fetish that it has to like just brutalize you all the time and just like beat you down, and you take every second of it and you'll enjoy it. 'Cause you have no choice. It's like, oh, when you get the exotic, well, guess what? Because there doesn't sell anything awesome. There's no more exotic Ingrams, and it could drop off anything. And like, you don't know when it's gonna drop, so just have fun grinding forever, Guardian. Grinding forever.
Oh my.
And it's like, oh, what's that? You need this fair drop? Guess what? Oh, it's a random roll. That's terrible. It's not their created version. Ah, ha, ha. And then, like, you know, I've done it, like, upwards of 10 times, and I still haven't got that stupid bow, and it's really, like, once I get that, I'm effing done. Like, Raid Day comes out, I think, Friday, but it's like, I might jump in, you know, because I said I'm taking November off, so it's like, I might jump in the next 2 weeks on Tuesday. Probably not the second one, but, whatever, we'll see. Especially if I get it. But then it's like, I know I'm not going to do the curative one with, like, a sweet perk roll, and it's just like, whatever, dude. Good enough, man. No, when you won Tekken, you got all the things. You didn't need all the things. You didn't really want all the things, but now it's like a matter of pride of like this game effing me every time. Like, I want to be like, yeah, Destiny, how'd you like that? You're the one that took it that time, didn't you? Okay, it's getting too personal right now. It's like, you know, I think I'm just gonna cool off here and just be like, yeah. Oh wait, I'm sorry, Topical. You did. Oh no, I guess I kind of covered it though. Like we did, like, yeah, planetary materials, and like, even though they did kind of improve everything in Forsaken, it's kind of kind of too much. Kind of too much. A bit of an overreach, if you will, and then they grab you and pull you into their dungeon, and they're like, hey, have a seat there, and I'll strap you in, and I'll, like, you know, I'll let you guess all the safe words, because you'll just be saying random words, I guess. And we'll just pretend you have Tourette's as you're, like, going through the alphabet and dictionary. But I'll never stop. And then you'll never stop because you want all the things, and, like, until you get it. I'll just enjoy being here torturing you in our magical bungee BDSM job dungeon. Have fun. Have fun,
Oh my.
Guardian.
Tropical, don't do it. Don't do it, Tropical. This does not sound fun at all. This does not sound fun at all.
We need to write down more Tekken quotes, and then we can start a T-shirt business. I'll never say the safe word.
Oh, man. And then, oh, man, I mean, the only thing that they improved was, like, Iron Banner, in my opinion, because basically every week, or not every week, but, like, whenever it is up now, Sladin will have, like, one awesome weapon, so it's, like, something that, like, we're trying to get, or getting, and then all the bounties give you powerful gear, so... But, it's like, yeah, so it's like, if you're one of the people still on the struggle best to 600, it's like, they, like, it's like one of those things where it's like, you know, you were the person that, like, went through the valley of torture, and then they turned on, like, the safety latch of, like, oh, guys, we might have overdid that, and now it's, like, just, like, loot from, or not loot, but, like, you know, just, like all the spikes, and all the fire, and all the acid, it's like, oh, they just, like, turned that off. It's like, oh, it's just, like, it's like a cakewalk now. We even have cake falling from the sky, because why would we want to make it, like, you know, as hard as it was to get to 600 before all the people that had to struggle with the struggle best people. Yeah, like Tekken. It's like, yeah, have fun in your cakewalk. You lily guardians, you filthy casuals out there, have fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember, because, yeah, there's, like, a ton of stuff to do every week now, and I was thinking, I was like, Tekken is doing all of these things, right? It's like, this is crazy. Like, there's so much stuff that they give you to do now, and just sort of this tease of, ooh, maybe you'll get something and then you'll level up, or maybe you won't. Who knows? It's powerful. Like, I don't know. If we got cut off.
Thing is, like, when I looked at, like, oh my gosh, the patch notes, dude. It's like, you know, it's like when you look at those and, like, you see some of the things that some people were getting when it's like you weren't being affected by that. It, like, reminds me of, like, when, like, the Argonaut rune or whatever, the F for, like, Court of Orcs was, like, in the loot pool for, like, the Nightfall, but I never got one. I was like, dee, if someone got that, I wouldn't have punched a hole in the wall or broke my controller, but man, I would have raged. So it's like to see, like, oh, well, apparently powerful Ingrams were, like, giving you, like, one under your light level.
Yeah.
For some people, I was like, what? I saw that and I was like, these people are the devil.
That happened to me for, like, quite a while, and I was like, I thought powerful engrams were the things used to level up. Like, why do I get... And it's not even, like, a lot below. It's, like, one below.
Yeah.
That's like,
that was like
feels
the thing, dude.
really
Like,
bad.
Like, why do they have, like, both prime Ingrams and effing powerful gear? It's like, that's stupid. It's like they should both do the same thing. If it's just gonna, like, so baby step you up to 600 with, like, the powerful gear of, like, you one at a time. Get, like, one more at a time. Just so it's like once I got to 600, like, after a couple weeks, I was like, you know what? I don't need this crap because I've already at 600. F this game. I'm done. I was like, I don't need all these effing powerful games because that's all they are. They're not, like, sweet masterworks, so I can get the cores, and they're not exotics. And it's like, that's all I care about at this point. And this game has, like, no, like, good path to, like, either of those things. So it can go have itself. And I'm gonna free myself from the dungeon and say, spare my body any more torture. Because, yeah, Tekken was DP'd again. Thanks, Destiny 2.
Oh my.
Thanks.
Did you have the thing where it was like the engram when you went to decode them, it would say, "Oh, it's gonna be this power level," and then it was like way lower?
No, I didn't have that. But then, like, when that happened in Iron Banner, I was, like, kind of furious. I was like, why is it that? I was just like, wow, this must be a bug. Why would they do this? It's like, oh,
Yeah, that happened to me too. I was like, hey, it says I'm gonna get really good stuff, and then it would come out and it would be like 10, 15 light
like,
below, and I was like,
this is not
is
what
this
I
a
wanted.
bug? Should I be saving my tokens? And I was like, no, it's the bug is that it's showing too high. Like what the crap you're getting is what you're supposed to be getting. It's like, good.
Did they give you guys a my bad present, or they're just
No,
like,
yeah, it was like a week. A week or two where I was
Oh, dude,
getting.
tropical! Wow, like you bringing this up, like made me just like remember like the other just like spike bat to my rear end yesterday of like there's a glitch in the raid basically where like in the final section where you're doing that effing escort mission, they like don't know what it is. They just like they just acknowledged it in like one of the last two this week at Bungie, where like everybody gets basically disconnected or like booted, and you get like that stupid error screen where it gives you like the error code, and it's called guitar, and like that basically happens at the final section every time for us. It happened like 4 times in a row yesterday, and I was like, like I was about to be like, if it happens every time, I'm effing done. Like I'm effing done. And then we did like we did our second raid, and it didn't happen at all. So it's just like completely effing random. Because like we thought it was like if you had tracking emblems on, or emblems that like track certain things, like how many triumphs you have, or like how like your night file score, like anything would be like tracked. That's what it was. But that's not it either, because we had like no tracking emblems on any of us, and it's still effing guitar just like effing 4 times, and I was like, dude,
Jeez.
f this effing game, like.
but do you get to go back to where you
No,
were, or
you
get
don't,
to?
because that section where you do the escort mission has to be done in one run. You have to do it in one go.
Oh,
You cannot.
that's even worse.
Yeah, it's like.
So if you fail it, you get nothing for the raid.
Well, that's the part
Or
where
you
you get
just
to the
get
chest room
keys?
article. So it's like you can't fail it or you don't pass it.
So basically, that means you wouldn't get like whatever, like the in game
Yeah.
or the in raid.
You wouldn't
Stuff
get
would
the sweet, the sweet stuff that you're not going to get anyway because you have one key. So it's like unless you're stacking keys.
That's such a horrible mechanic. Why
Yes.
would they do that?
And then there's like the guitar error, and it's like wow, that makes it like even worse. Of like, well, it just reminds me of like the Captain America meme where he has the chair, and he's like, well.
So you thought you were going to get through
You
the
thought you were going to
raid.
finish the raid, no, you're not going to finish the raid because you get
Sorry, there's-
tired.
After spending like hours going through all that nonsense, and it's like, LOL, you can't get your sweet loot. That's not. They need to fix that.
Yeah.
They can't.
Yeah.
it's-
I guess that like Destiny is sort of in a tough spot. Like they did spend, a bunch of money to make this thing, and they made it teen rated probably so they could get more people to play it. But then it's like it needs to be casual enough that casuals will play it because they make up most of the population, but then it also has to be hardcore enough that if a hardcore player plays it, then they'll have enough to do for an extended period of time. And it's just like,
Oh my gosh! So
Yeah.
have you been to Driven City, or are you still not gotten there?
I haven't gotten there yet.
Okay,
So I
so
killed the.
here's the other thing for me that killed effing Destiny 2 for a second was like, okay, when you finish the campaign, when you finish it, and you get to the Dreaming City, it gets kind of cool.
talking. He's angry.
Yes, this made me effing furious after the third week because I was like, I had my hopes up, and then I was like, you know what, F it, it's effing Destiny 2. It's just like it's just more of the like, oh here Tekken, here, let me just dangle it in front of you. Oh, got your nose. Anyway, so yeah, one of these effing things. So when you finish the campaign and you get to the Dreaming City and you talk to Petra, you get a whole new like slew of story missions that are not in the campaign, and they're pretty cool. That being said, after after you do one and you're like, oh, that was cool, like, oh my gosh, there's also a rotation on like Dreaming City as far as like the air quote curse level, and this was pretty cool what they did where like they didn't really activate this until like one team finished the raid for the first time, so that happened, and then it started these story missions every week. So there's only like, I'm going to say there's 3 or 4 of them. And then, like, we didn't know how many there were because it was time gated here. And, like, when we got to this part, and, like, every week there's, like, something new as far as, like, what these missions were. And, like, oh, like, but then it was, like, here's the dagger in the heart. It's, like, they are breadcrumbing us, like, the story every week. And it's, like, it's not going anywhere. So it's, like, after the 3rd week, or the 4th week, whenever it, like, got to, like, the first mission again, like, that's when I was done. Because I was, like, getting super excited. I had, like, all these theories. Because, like, it was so cool what they did, and it's like the first team that like beat the raid basically like lifted the curse, and then like the whole thing about like the Aham car. Did you get that cutscene article about the Aham cars?
Nah.
Oh, dude.
Probably like after I finish the
Yeah, you
campaign,
probably will.
maybe.
But basically, it was something about like how Ahamkars can like grant wishes even posthumously when they're dead. And so like we killed the last one, but then it cursed the city, so it didn't like let us. So like there was no wish granted. So it's like clearly this was like some sort of like scheme from someone. And it's just like, okay, well, what was the wish? And like I'm just like, oh man, okay. And then like the Petra's missions. So like the first one, you I'm trying to think. I don't know the order of them, but basically there's one where like this lady gives you a relic, and like they're assaulting this monastery that has like all these relics from the Awoken, and you basically go in there and like there's a Riven Sire boss that you fight. That's like the spaghetti monster. Oh, you haven't fought it yet. Never mind. Anyway, spaghetti ball. You'll fight it eventually.
Spaghetti
You'll know what I'm saying.
Spaghetti monster.
I was calling it the what's that thing that people the flying spaghetti monster, that religious creature. Anyway, but like that, you'll know it when you see it. Anyway, it's one of those. It's not one of those, but it looks like one of those. You'll know when you see it. So it's like it was kind of cool because it's like the same boss from the story missions in that mission, and I was like, okay, cool. In the next mission, there's like a bunch of taken assaulting some thingy, and there's like a bunch of ogres that spawn. You have to kill them, and then I'm not even sure that's like the first or second, whatever. Anyway, the third one, I think there's 3 or 4. What's the third one? Let's see. You fight the spaghetti monster. You fight the ogres. Oh yeah. There's like a place in the Dreaming City. It's by the Harbinger place where you get all the tincture oils for the potions, and then like a potion opens up. Not a potion. A portal opens up. You go through there. It's in the Syndicate realm, and like you see these wizards doing this thing. You blow up a crystal. You have to run out, and they're like, "Oh man, get out of there!" Like a ghost like react. He has like your ghost has like this really cool reaction. He's like, "Oh, okay." He doesn't like go but he's like, "Get out of there!" And like there's like timer counting down. So it's like, "Oh man, gotta get out of here." So you do that. Those are like the 3 missions. There might be a 4th one, whatever, it doesn't matter. So basically, like, the fourth, like, oh, also, here's the thing. It's like, after you do each one and, like, you talk to Petra, she has, like, dialogue, and it's, like, super, like, story-related, and, like, I was totally, like, being fed this, like, or, like, since they're, like, spoon-feeding us, I was just, like, eating it. I was just, like, oh, yes, story, lore, this is so amazing. And, but then, when it got to, like, the repeat week, and it was, like, Guardian, apparently everything seems to be happening all over again. And so it's like, wait a minute. Because like what she had been saying, like she was basically like, all right, we're going to strike at the heart of the curse, and it'll open a stargate. And it just made it in my mind seem like, oh man, is there like a secret raid? Is there going to be some sweet space battle? Is there going to be some sweet like maybe like when Aphrodite was here in Iron Banner at the end of Destiny 1, she's like talking about like the far off like deep space battles. Will it be that? And it was just like, nope, it's just the story mission that you did the first week again. And then I was like, wait a minute. This is Groundhog Day. Did they just Groundhog Day us? And then the next week it was another one, the same one. And I was like, wait a minute. But then that's the thing. Is like, even though it was like the same missions, like Petra was like, her like dialogue kept going as far as like, you know, I had this dream. And there were birds, and there were flowers, and the birds ate the flowers, and I was so scared, and I don't know why. And then I was like, okay, where's this going? But then this week, it broke me, because it was like, I like went up to her to like get the mission, and she's just like, same old thing, Guardian, you know what to do. And I was like, wait, what, that's it? That I was like, I got myself like so hyped up of like, oh man, where's this going? Oh man, this is so cool. It's like this is like the story kept going after we finished the campaign, but then like it was Groundhog Day, but like maybe something will happen. Maybe something happened. So like after today or yesterday, and it was just like, well, Guardian, you know what to do. Same old, same old. I was like, well, I think I am also done with this, because that was like the last thing I was holding hope out for, was like, maybe for once, maybe for effing once in the history of this effing garbage franchise I can't stop playing because of Marine Team, they would like deliver on the story front, and they just like it was just like like a lifting off like spaceship, and then just like oh engines failing, and just like straight into the ground, and just like I'm just so over it right now. I'm so over it. And then like that's the other effing thing. It's like it's kind of cool because Petra gives you like these quests and bounties, and like if you do them, you get these oracle offerings that you take to this contraption. And then here's the really cool part. I'm gonna effing spoil it because F it doesn't matter. It's effing Destiny. F the story in that game. It's garbage. It doesn't matter. I want to believe,
Darkness.
but it haven't. They failed on delivery. Okay, it was a, or rather, they failed to lift off and blew up on the launch pad. Anyway, so.
They tried.
Oh, they are trying. Oh.
There was the Traveler and some guy and other things happened. There used to be darkness at some point.
It used to be darkness. Oh.
There's like worms and robots. I don't know. Listen, I just kind of made up my own story in the game, so it just doesn't even. I don't even know.
So then, at some point, after you do enough of these effing picture things, and like you do enough oracle offerings, the thingy opens up, and you jump through, and who's there? Oh my gosh, it's the queen, she ain't dead! Because it's like, if you remember, and the Taken King cinematic, she got blowed up. But apparently, she didn't get blowed up because she's still alive. So now I'm like, how that bitch not die? Because I'm like, dude, I gotta know. And now I'm just like,
Magic.
I'm kind of over it, but now I'm kind of like, now I can't stop playing. Because it's like, I gotta play the story mission every week to be like, what's new? Nothing? Okay, cool. Because that's what happened this week. I was like, oh, she was just like, F you, you've been being led on again, and you fell for it. It's like, middle finger, middle finger. And I was like, well, maybe there will be resolution. Probably not, but maybe. So I'm just like, yeah, I'm hoping, you know, I want to believe, Destiny. I want to believe. But it's like after the thorough flogging followed by the total DP of like, ha 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 ha. Guess what?
Gosh.
These drop rates are terrible, and the story just totally blew up in your face. How you like that? Me too, Destiny 2. Me too, because you did that to me. So yeah, thanks. But yeah, that's where I'm at with this game, and it's just yeah, it's torture. Like I said, it's like, you know, I'll stand at the door of their weird BDSM club that they got. I'm not going in that dungeon though. I've time spent, dude. Time served.
I mean,
time
you
served.
kind of already have, actually. I mean,
I'm just here hoping the story pays off every week, and I'm like, Petra, what you got? And she's like, I got this taken, and it's like, I kind of don't even care to like do like the queen stuff now, because it's like, even though I could get like an oracle offering and see the queen and like she'll like talk to you, which is cool, it's like, this isn't going anywhere. So it's like, why even bother? It's like, if it's just a time loop, or if it's just like a curse, and it's just like, oh, we were cursed to be in a time loop. It's like, I already know that. Then it's like, clearly, since I put the pieces together, why do I suffer like this? Why am I suffering like this? Why would I do this to myself? But it's like, I gotta know. I'm curious. Oh, so yeah. It's like, I'm kind of on the hook, but then I'm like, I'm kind of not. But then I'm like, I kind of am. But then I'm like, it doesn't need, Chris. Like, take it. When has this game ever delivered on story, Chris? When?
It hasn't.
And I'm like, never. So why? Because I want to believe, man. It's like, you know, TellTale's gone, man. They ain't coming back. Like, Bioware's. It's like right now, I'm not playing anything. This is all I got. Okay, I put like how many hundreds of hours in, like, you know, my Guardian. Maybe there's something cool at the end, and I'm just like, no. I added the key thing too. It's like added the keys, and what they did was in the raid, man. That wasn't cool, man. That was not cool. And
so
like.
that's kind of stupid.
It's like, why would you think that they would, like, you know, have some sweet story resolution at the end of this? It's like, at this point, I'm just like, I just want to believe. I think I'm just like a, you know, in denial cult member of like, you know, I play Destiny 2, but, you know, I'm not super into it. I just raid every week, but I want all these things to be awesome, but I can't stop playing, and I guess I just need someone to save me because I can't save myself. I don't know, but yeah, that's
oh my.
yeah, I guess that's a very long, deep dive, but that's all the things in Destiny 2, because, man, Dreaming City effed me up, man. It effed me up, because I wanted to believe, and I was like, I was like, it's on the stream, too. It's like, on my YouTube channel, like, I was like, so excited every Tuesday. I was like, oh, man, Petra, oh, man, story, what are we gonna do? And then when it got to, like, this week, and it was like, oh, Guardian, you know what to do. Same old, I was like, no! I was like, we were going somewhere every week. There was some new cool stuff you were saying to me, and now you're just like, whatever, dude. Groundhog Day. I was like, oh, man. It was like, they were so close. They were so close. It was so cool. The whole thing they did with the raid. It was like, oh, that's so cool. And the cinematic, and like the car and the rivers, and it's just like, oh, it was like, it's like I said, man. It's like. They were like, it's like I just wanted them to stick the landing, but then I didn't realize, like, we weren't even off the launch pad, and then like the ship just blew up, because it's like, you know what, no, because this is a failure. So, you know,
Maybe
good
it'll
job, you
all
got my
come
money.
together in year 10, and they're just like, remember all these things, and then all the callbacks start happening, and then it's like, oh, this happened because this happened now, and then it's all going to turn out to be some big old massive, like, Nah, I'm just kidding. It's probably not going to do it. That's true.
But that's the other thing, RPG, is like in the game in Forsaken, since they added all the triumphs, there's like a bunch of like lore books that they've added. But then, unlike the like Dead Ghosts and like garbage Grimoire crap from D1, it's like in order. So like as you're like reading through this stuff, it's actually kind of cool. But then it's like in my brain, I'm like, I mean, after this whole like fiasco with like the whole Dreaming City thing, I'm just like, I'm kind of over it. Cause I'm like, it's not. It's just like I said, it's just like breadcrumbs to like keep me playing at this point. I don't think it's actually going to do anything, but like stuff in there is like really cool because there's like this whole thing about Eris, and Eris has been gone for a long time, and then like what we're dealing with now with like the whole Taken and like the Hive, it's like I think we need Eris to like shed some light. And like one of the last thingies I read was like she gave me a note, or was it a note from Eris? I don't remember. I think it was like a note from Eris. It doesn't matter. But basically, it was hinting that she's coming back and she's gonna like talk about all these things, and then like there's a bunch of stuff in there about the Awoken and how they're basically just like reincarnated, and then it was kind of cool. I was like, oh man, this is pretty cool. And then like there's one entry about like Eris and like how in her previous life, like what she like how like she was human and now she's awoken. I mean, she was probably awoken. It just made it seem like she was human because she was on Earth. She's like a Russian swimmer chick. It was weird. It was a whole thing. You'd have to read it, but yeah, it was pretty cool. And I was like kind of getting into this, but then like I'm at this point after the whole flogging of like haha Groundhog Day. I'm kind of just like not too into it anymore. I'm saving myself from like the disappointment, and I'm just like, be cool, Tegan, because it's just gonna let you down like it has every time. So just don't get your hopes up like you did that last time, because man, I was like sky high for like sweet story space battle action or something, and like the climax, and it was just like meh. Not even. It was Groundhog Day, and I was like, dude, we were going somewhere awesome, Bungie, and you just failed us. And it was just, yeah. But that's my Disney 2 experience, and what I've been going through in that game the last torturous month and 2.5 or whatever, however long since September the 4th, and this came out, and I kind of couldn't stop playing it, so. And yeah, that's all the thingies. That's all the whole loot rolls. I mean, everything's fixed, but then it's not really a better game. It's more the same. So at first I was like, man, I can actually recommend this game, but I cannot clean conscience do that. So yeah, it's pretty much the same. Of like, you know what you're getting into, and you know what to expect. So yeah, I think I'm done, because all I played besides this is Spider-Man, and I'm gonna just stop talking about it because until I tried to fry that up, and I totally forgot the repressed memory that like I instantly had of like how ragey this game got me, and then the guitar thing. Oh my gosh, that guitar thing is just like kiss of death, dude. Like, no, I will be like, yeah, stay away. Like I said, you did things to me too. So I will not let it do that to my friends or anybody else. Be like, no, do not play this game. Even though it's free with Plus, it's like, don't get the expansions, because
oh yeah, it is free with Plus.
It's a
Because I have it. I have also playing it.
Well, good on you, RPG, because you wanted to suffer and go through the torture device like I did.
I'm sorry.
I'm done with my spiel on Disney 2, and I think every week from now I'll just be like, yeah, Disney 2, like I was before. It's like, I played it, I'm not going to talk about it. I got it off my chest. It took like, 40 minutes, but, we haven't podcasted for a month. So, I had to get it all out there at once. Now I did. We're free again from this abomination.
Maybe we just have to learn to be better guardians. Was that the lesson of Groundhog Day?
Who even knows?
But that's the thing that... Okay. So
The answer was inside all along.
Cheers. We almost all got murdered a bunch of times just for that. It's like, F you, traveler. F you.
Okay.
F you, speaker. F everybody. So yeah, that would be horrible.
That's the other thing, though, about the thing about Destiny 2. It's like, basically, I haven't read all the lore entries. I've only been reading some of them, because I'm just like, dude, that's a lot of crap in here, and I'm here to play the game, not read a book. So
They actually made a book. So
I pre-ordered it because I'm a sucker. Anyway.
Of course you did. Of course you did.
Anyway. So, jeez. Oh yeah. Okay. So if you read, I don't know like if this is apparent like if you've read all of them or how many of them, but like the people that are like the lore people or they're just like super into the lore of Destiny, like according to them, this is like a thing that the Hive have done before. It was called a murder battery, where essentially they would just like
Murder
kill.
battery?
That's what I said.
That is great.
They would just like kill, pillage, destroy, and then like do that to get more powerful and like get the swords. Do that, get more powerful. Sword logic, blah 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 blah. I haven't looked into it, so I'm not sure like what all that means. But that's what DevSize told me. So I'm just gonna believe him because he knows some of this stuff. Because I didn't even know about like the whole like, damn, what was that guy's name? Shin Malfoy, the whole Shin Malfoy, other dude, the whole Golden Gun, Thorn. It's a whole thing in the lore, but yeah, that thing. Anyway, going back to what I was saying. So apparently this is like a thing that the Hive has like done before, and it has been hinted in the game, like with that Strike Savathun song, that like there is another heir or like sibling, relative, whatever to orcs and like Crota, like since that he was in like since like he had sisters and blah blah blah, and like she's coming. Apparently, is like what the thing is, but then like she's just like trapped us in this murder battery, but we don't know it. And maybe that's like what the curse is, and so we're like doing all these things every week, and we're just like killing, blah blah blah. So like maybe somewhere in the background, it's like actually like empowering the Hive to where they can like raise an army or raise something, and then it's a trap, but we don't know. So, but yeah, that's one of the theories floating out there. I cannot confirm or deny because I've not actually read the lore entries, so maybe. But like I said, I want to believe. But after what I've been through with this game, it's like I'm just here for the ride, dude. And if it gets better, it gets better. But stay away because it's just more of the same, really. It's a trap. So until I can confirm or deny, you would be doing yourself a favor to stay away. But yeah. Time to go back to you.
All right. So yeah, that was Destiny. There was a bunch of really good sales over the past month, and I looked at them and I thought, okay, I'm going to make a list of all the ones that I want, and then look at all the games and then decide which ones do I have games that are similar to them or games that are prequels to them that I should play first. And it worked. I bought nothing in the end, which was really cool. Or I don't know if that's cool. But yeah, one of the sales was the PSVR 2-year-old birthday celebration, and there was a whole bunch of VR stuff that I wanted. And then I looked at the VR stuff that I hadn't even launched yet. And I said, all right, I'm going to play through these, and if I finish them, then I'll go buy VR stuff. Obviously, I did not finish all of them, but I did finish 2. The first one I played through was something called Unearthing Mars, which had pretty low review scores on the store.
Oh.
And I think at the time I also bought another one that had really low review scores. Space something. I don't even remember what it was called. It was just like... And I remember... I don't know why I did it, but I remember looking at those games and then some like better games that cost a bit more, and I thought, you know what, I'm about giving chances to the games that everyone else will say are terrible, and so I'm going to buy the terrible ones, and then someday in the future the good ones will be cheaper, and then I'll buy them at that point. Anyways, Unearthing Mars was one of these, and I was like, I have no idea what this is, and I played it through to the end. And it's quite trippy. It was not what I thought it was. When VR was announced and like released for PlayStation, they had talked about there was a project with NASA, and I think it was sort of related to that Matt Damon movie, The Martian. I thought this was that. This was not that. This was about like ancient Martian civilization, and if you have seen the Star Trek The Next Generation episode, oh man, what was it called? The one where Picard gets the flute? The Inner Light.
This show
That's
just
right.
sounds so weird.
The Inner Light. It was basically that. And apparently it has multiple endings. Like, I got the not as good ending. But yeah, it's basically short scenes. So the story is they go to Mars to like go look for it's sometime in the future, and one of Mars's moons like fell out of orbit and crashed on Mars, and so you're there. There's some theory that maybe it wasn't a moon and there was like evidence of ancient Martian civilization, and so you're there and you go down and explore basically. But it's just the game itself is like divided into little scenes. So the first there's a scene on the mothership that you're on, and then it's like you're just talking about, okay, the weather is really bad. Can we get down there? It's been we've been on the ship for 9 months and we've waited in orbit for a month for the weather to clear up. And then it cuts to a scene where you're in the cockpit and you have to do some things to like not crash land, and then after you're on the surface, there's like a scene, and then there's like these driving sections that are kind of cool, where you drive I guess a Martian rover with the 2 move controllers, and you sort of like tilt them to steer, and it actually works really well. And then it gets really trippy and very insane, and there's some spooky parts, and I was like, this was kind of cool. It looks really rough. Like, there's a lot of VR games that look really crisp and clear and much better than you would think that the PS4 would be able to do in VR. This one is not like that. Like, it's an Unreal Engine 4 game, and you feel like, well, if the image was clear, these people would look really good, but the image is very, very pixelated. So, yeah. I thought it was pretty decent. The first thing I did after I finished it was like, I saw that there was an Unearthing Mars 2. I'm going to see what that one is like. But I didn't end up buying it, so. But, yeah, I guess what that says is that this one was compelling enough to me that I wanted to see what the sequel was. And then the other one I had purchased pretty early on but never launched was Eve Gunjack, which I guess apparently was originally a like Samsung Gear VR game. So it's basically a shooting gallery, but your head is used for targeting. So wherever you're looking, the center of the screen is like, that's where the reticule is, and you're just like fighting off waves of fighters, and they keep introducing different types of enemy drones that have different abilities, and then yeah, it's basically what's that game? Galaga? It's basically Galaga but in VR. So it's 3D and they're all around you. And then you do boss fights, and then I think, yeah, that's it. It was pretty simple once I actually played through it. It does get a bit challenging. There's sections where the drones that are flying at you can cloak, and so you can only kind of see them. And they're moving very quickly because I guess the assumption is you can move your head much faster than you can sort of finesse a joystick. And so things are moving very quickly, and you just kind of have to snap. You're like looking at things and then pulling the trigger on the DualShock 4 and shooting them down. So finished that game as well. It was like 22 levels or something like that. It wasn't very long. And that was the extent of the VR games I was able to finish. So I ended up buying nothing from that sale. There was another sale that I can't remember the name of, but it had some interesting indie stuff. And so this sent me to my indie list. And something I had bought recently but didn't launch was Donut County, which is a game in which you play, I guess, you control a hole. You're not anyone in the game. The game has its own characters. The hole is controlled by a raccoon, on his tablet.
What the hell?
The entire premise is really ludicrous, but I feel like it makes a really good, like, it could be a really good children's book, because those books tend to be pretty insane in what's happening.
So it works for if you're on drugs as well.
Sure, maybe. And yeah, it's sort of like Katamari Damacy. So the hole gets bigger as you eat more stuff. And then each level is kind of like a puzzle. Like you sort of figure out, okay, which things do I need to eat first in order to become big enough to eat this thing, which is the objective. And then sometimes there'll be things like, I need to light these fireworks. And so you'll eat like something that's on fire, and then suddenly the hole will be on fire. And then you can move around and like light things on fire. Yeah, it's pretty wacky, and the story is really crazy too. But I don't know. I don't think I ended up playing most of the levels. I started playing it, and I got to like the third part, and then my daughter came in and she was like, "Oh, I like this." She just likes these sort of low poly, like flat shaded characters, I guess. And so she's like, "Oh, I like this," and she just took it, and it was pretty simple. And
She's
so
like,
I ended up just sitting there reading the story parts, and it was just like weird dialogue between vaguely human and anthropomorphized animal characters, and yeah, it was very like children's book style. I was like, oh, this is cool. There's only one part where I think if I told parents, yes, let your 4-year-old, 5-year-old play this, where they might be like, it's a section where you eat 2 rabbits, and then like there will be a whole bunch of hearts appear above your hole.
Oh dear.
And then like the hole will suddenly expand like numerous times because the rabbits inside have multiplied.
Ate a bunch of rabbits.
You ate 2 rabbits, and then they became more rabbits. And then once you've eaten a ton of rabbits, for some reason they all like burst out of the hole, and then you can eat them again, and the hole becomes bigger.
Dear. Dear. Well.
That's the only part where I was like,
I mean,
yeah, I mean,
as long as the kid doesn't turn and be like, well, what just happened? You're like, well,
like, yeah, that's
We
the
get 2
only
rabbits
risk
together
there.
and really like each other.
or they're super drunk. It's like, oh dear.
Yeah. As for the rest of it, it's like, yeah, language is clean, and it's one of those wacky stories that kids like. So, and it looks like a children's book. So, I thought it was quite good. But she finished that game. We got to the end, and she finished it. I was like, okay, so I'm gonna take that as mine. I finished another game. Haha. Yeah, it's really cool. Actually, you should check it out. I picked up Black Ops 4
Ew.
last week. A totally multiplayer Call of Duty.
Double ew.
I suppose we should have known that the day was coming, and it is here.
Actually, I'm pretty sure like in the past we've like discussed that of like would they ever just take out the single player mode?
Yeah.
And they
Well,
finally
so
did.
Here's the thing, like there is single player stuff, but it's not, and it's kind of like a campaign, but I think that if they had called it a campaign, people would have been, upset and up in arms, because there's characters. Call of Duty has
Talking about
gone
the zombie
to
mode, trying to call it
no, it's not zombie
Oh,
mode.
that's weird.
It's like Call of Duty's main multiplayer now is like character specific, kind of. So instead of just like perks that everyone has, there's like special issue equipment that you get to take one of, and then that's like it's like your super, essentially, like in Destiny. And then whatever your super is, like, changes what your character model looks like, I think. Because
this in no way sounds like a single player game or experience.
no, so this is what like competitive multiplayer is now. Like the characters are like specific characters that have a specific like gear set, and then you can change weapons and whatever. But their sort of like special ability is always like the same thing. But yeah, so those are like characters apparently, and the single player is like it tells the backstory of each of these characters.
Tropical.
And
They said there's no single player. There's no single player.
I think that there is single player, except it's not the single player that you would expect from a Call of Duty game.
Is it a mode where you play with other people that are trying to kill you?
No,
What?
you play by yourself
Really?
in the single player.
There's a mode where you play by yourself?
Is it called single player?
What's it called? What
And there's like a story. It's just called, I think it's just called single player.
What? False advertising. Whatever.
Well, no, that's the thing. Like, it's when you think of Call of Duty single player, you think of like sort of directed. You know, you're going down certain corridors, and there's like big events that happen, and like destruction and Michael Bay moments. Yeah, there isn't any of that stuff. But you are being funneled down paths, and you're like doing certain things that they're telling you to do. It's like, well, this is single player, except that it's like really basic, and there's no spectacular moments happening. But they are telling you a story, and it's like, huh.
This is a very watered down.
I haven't finished it yet, so I don't know how it goes, but yeah.
A reductive version of this. This is this version that you know and love, some of you.
It's
And you
But
probably
stripped
don't
of
like as
everything
much
that you
or
made
more.
it. Yeah. But stripped of everything.
So I think like that's why they said there's no single player, because if you called this thing single player, people, you know, the first thing we'd say is like, no, it's not, because it's not like any of the other ones.
There's no dialogue. You just shoot things.
Well, no, there is dialogue.
Okay.
Like that's the part where I was like, it depends on what you mean by single player. Call of Duty single player is this bombastic thing, and this is definitely not that. But it does kind of have a narrative. So yeah, I haven't finished it, so I don't know how it turns out. But I played a bit of it after I played a bunch of multiplayer. I was like, huh, this might. I mean, it would definitely be disappointing, I think, if people bought it for this, but it's not like there is zero single player if you bought it for multiplayer.
Oh.
It's like if you think, you know, they spent all this money on single player, and then maybe, well, these days probably like another 50% on multiplayer. And then this one is like 90% was spent on multiplayer, and then like 10% was spent on single player. So yeah, multiplayer. I don't know. I actually think it's kind of fun again. They changed so you don't regenerate health anymore. You have like a health syringe, I guess, that you have to jab yourself with
Health
if you get.
syringe.
That is not how that works in real life, by the way.
What RPG said.
And then the abilities are really neat. And what's the mode I've been playing a lot? It's Control, but it's sort of it's kind of different. It's more like there's that I think you have limited lives in Control. So it's Control with limited lives. I don't know. I actually haven't thought about it in a little while because I was playing Iron Banner and other stuff. But from what I remember, launch week, I thought it was pretty decent. And I haven't even tried zombies or anything else yet. I just played like straight up multiplayer. I didn't even try the Battle Royale mode yet. Just the straight up multiplayer with the way that abilities works now, and like I think they adjusted how deadly guns are, so you don't die instantly every time someone sees you anymore. And then also, you know, having the health packs and stuff like that. And they changed it so that like UAVs can't see you if you're in a building because they're in the sky and you're indoors. And so like the information about where the enemy is or where you are, if they have stuff like that, isn't perfect anymore. So they can't just like find you super easily. Quite as much as probably some of the earlier ones. Yeah, which would be a real problem in this one, I think, because I think was it Modern Warfare 1. If you got all of your kill streaks, then you couldn't get any more. Like you had to die before you could get kill streaks again. In this one, you can, if you stay alive and just not die, you can keep cycling through all of your kill streaks again. And I could see, people getting UAVs just over and over and over, and your entire team would just be visible the entire game. And that's super useful in Call of Duty. But this one, yeah, it wouldn't be. The other team could just hide in a house, and then they would know you're in a house, but it's like, well, which one?
That seems like a standard Call of Duty tactic to begin with, though, so I don't really think that would really change anything.
Like being in a house?
Hiding in a building. Any
Really?
building. Yeah, Tactical. People did it a lot when I used to play Call of
My
Duty. It's
impression
like,
of Call of Duty was always like
first in building. Just
people are just like running in a circle,
there's
and
also
whoever
the
is
complete
running in the
opposite of
circle
person just
faster.
sitting in the spot camping like a bastard.
Oh my.
Well, I haven't really encountered that yet. I
I'm
don't know.
just curious how this series is staying relevant. It's just
I know.
sounds like it's all. It just sounds like it's all over the place at this point. Because isn't there like 3 companies doing it now? And then
Yeah.
on top of that, it's like based on what Tropical was saying about this game, it just sounds like they're just like, you know what, just put everything in it. Just put everything in it and hope
I
something
think
sticks.
put all the multiplayer things and just take out multiplayer single player because nobody cares about that.
I think
Big
what it
physique
is
we're going to big physique it this year, guys. That's what we're going to do.
Call of Duty has just weird, or the appeal is very different now. I think with Modern Warfare, back in the day, like people thought, oh, it's cool to pretend to be like these special ops guys, and the night vision parts were really awesome, and like the sniper part, ghillie in the weeds thing, that was really awesome, and just having these sort of, if not totally realistic feeling, like you thought that they were realistic, and it was sort of very grounded in reality. And then these days, it's more and more like gamey. Like being able to wall run in one of them, and this one has like, the character I like to play, he can put up this big metal shield essentially, and then the front of the shield emits microwaves, which like when people run into them, they get slowed, and then it's really easy to shoot them down. And it just feels like really unrealistic anymore. Like the guns feel like they're from the future. They probably are. Like the things you're using are definitely from the future. But I think as a game, though, it is more interesting. Like they could have stuck with the same thing and just kept doing the same thing with just different maps. But they didn't. Like they changed it up, and somehow I don't think that would appeal to the people who first were like, oh, Modern Warfare, oh, Spec Ops, yeah, that's really cool. Now it's just like, I don't know what this is. This is like future soldiers, and like it's a sci-fi game now.
Okay, so I have a question about that, because do you think that because there's like 3 different versions, right? There's like Black Ops, Ghost, and what's the other one?
It's hard to say which ones
didn't they
are.
retire Modern Warfare?
So let's see, Modern Warfare 3, yeah, that ended the story. Ghosts, I don't think they're continuing, because I think that one was Infinity War, or Infinity Ward? Whatever the original A-team was, they went on to make
Titanfall.
Infinite Warfare or Advanced Warfare.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, Infinite.
The space one, I think, was theirs.
Oh, maybe that's what it was. Is like the name mechanic is like they kept Warfare on it, but it has like
Yeah,
Infinite now.
yeah.
Okay, so Infinite Warfare,
Well, that
Black
one's in
Ops,
space.
and then
Which
whatever
the
Ghost
other
that
is
one
one
going to
actually
change
felt
into.
more grounded than this one. Like this one is just like these feel like this feels like an action like the G.I. Joe movies. It's just like this does not feel like real people anymore.
But do you think that like between the three of them, they still feel like distinct? That like they're each their own different type of Call of Duty or just thing within the franchise.
Mm, well, not really. Like I don't think they were trying to make very different games.
So they're just trying to pump one out every year.
Yeah, like it's not like the Need for Speed thing where it was like, oh, these are the realistic sim ones, and then these are
I guess that
the
makes
Hot
sense.
Pursuit ones. Like this is all they're all Call of Duty, but then people like each one for different reasons. I think 'cause like the World War II one was. I went to that one because of the World War II setting and like just seeing what that's like on PS4. I was like, oh, that was really neat. And then Infinite Warfare was like, well, I want to see what this space thing is. Like, this is gonna be crazy. And then this one,
I
or
completely forgot that World
Treyarch
War
has always
II.
been like the zombie stuff. Like, that's the stuff that I want to play.
Okay, so they have like past wars in the World War II era. They have future
Yeah.
wars and they have space wars. So those are the three brands. But they're all
Pretty much.
basically just changing machines for Activision to pump out every year because they have three teams working on them
Yeah.
in a continual cycle. So you just
It was
keep Call of Duty
basically to
every year.
give the teams breaks, because otherwise,
Yeah.
just the one team doing it every year is probably going to be
You'll be
exhausting.
like, Madden.
Yeah, basically. Or Assassin's
like-
Creed before they finally decided, it's like, you should probably stop this.
It
Yeah, and
doesn't
then, like
feel
surprise,
like
surprise, Assassin's Creed was like good again after that. It's like original was amazing, and then the new one, everybody's like, oh, pretty good, honestly, pretty good. Because
yeah.
it's like Mass Effect and
What I
ancient
hear,
Rome.
Greece.
Greece.
Rome, Greece.
They are different.
That,
They are
Very
different.
different.
They are quite different.
How we think about them is really different. But yeah, these are like clearly they're the same, but sort of different, so that you can buy a new one every year and not feel like a fool, unless you think harder, a little bit harder.
Feel like a fool, cause you are. Cause you are.
Oh, it was really cool. In the past, there has been sort of this idea of like what it's like to play Call of Duty online. You play Call of Duty online, and it's like this mesh of really toxic adults and like children. There are like no children so far in my experience with Black Ops 4. There's no children. I think they're all playing Fortnite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it?
Or they're playing the Battle Royale mode, which I don't think you get to hear other people. And so far, like, every time there's been people on mics, it's been really cool. It's like, wow, it's sort of back to the
Oh, Traptical, just wait until after the
golden
holidays.
era of, like,
Floodgates will open. The
maybe.
gates of hell will be unleashed.
Oh my.
Toxicity will rain from the sky. You think
Yeah, I got
Call of
into
Duty is
one
a happy,
game.
fun place? You're in the wrong reality, Traptical. This is the darkest timeline. You know,
It is the darkest timeline.
wake up on that one, buddy.
Yeah, so far, it was really, like, I was in this game with this one guy who had a mic, and I didn't have a mic. And I was like, well, this is the internet. I'm not going to get on my mic. So I'm just like hanging out silently. And then someone
no
else had a
fool.
mic on the other team, and they like started talking to each other during death cams. And then they got on the same team, and then I was on their team, and then just like more and more people came in with mics, or like started turning on their mics.
That is
And it
pretty
was, like-
hilarious, Traptical. That is like
It felt like
hilarious.
Gap
It's like
Night.
everybody was like, F this crap. This is like a toxic environment. I'm not putting up with this anymore. I'm like opting out. And then like they're like, oh wait, there actually are cool people on mics still that like exist on the internet. I guess I can dip my toe back into the pool. Yeah, enjoy that for like the next however many days before the holiday rush, and it's like, oh, kids up the wazoo, or
Yeah,
terrible
maybe.
and toxic people up the wazoo.
But still, like that one day was like, this is really awesome. Like everyone is staying in the game, and I guess it helped that everyone was pretty closely matched in like skill because we weren't neither side was getting blown out, and since no one was in an actual party, like it just kept changing who was on whose team, and I was like, this is really awesome.
Not the genuine Call of Duty experience asterisk.
Maybe. Or maybe Fortnite has, drawn all those people away. That would be nice.
That's probably the most likely scenario in this.
Yeah, finally, I am also caught in Red Dead 2 fever. Although, yeah, I'm sort of with Tekken. I'm not like super hyped for it, but
Also, like
I
the
want.
trailers, dude. Like the last two trailers that came out, like did not just like grab me like I thought they would. I was like, I saw the trailer with all the stuff, and I was like, this kind of looks like
Yeah.
Red Dead 1, but just more things. And then the launch trailer didn't just like blow me away, so I'm just like not hyped.
Dun dun dun.
This ain't Cyberpunk 2077.
Well, for me, I was like, okay, this means I need to finish Red Dead Redemption before Thursday
One of the
night.
games I yell at Tropical for never having finished.
And
When
at
he says it,
first,
I
like it's
forget,
on.
'cause I'm always like, what's that one game Tropical? I always like do something when Tropical because I'm like, what?
There
That
are
must be
so
one of them.
many, so many.
One of the
There's
many.
others, but
I
this
just
is
want
one
to
of
say it's like one of the many.
Yeah, recently I've been playing a lot of PlayStation Now, and Red Dead is on there, and I was like, I'm just gonna play it through PlayStation Now so I can use my PS4 controller. And my internet is super fast, so I was like, it's gonna be fine. And my original plan was to start at the beginning again because I don't remember how to play at all. But then I thought, come on, I have like 3 days. I need to finish this.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
So I just like went onto my PlayStation 3 cloud and found that save and then loaded onto PlayStation Now and then like just started there. And I was already in Mexico, but I had no idea like at what point. and I don't remember like the first half of the story. So
Oh,
I'm just like,
Tropical.
okay,
Bad. Hate to tell you, but when you get to Mexico, that is like halfway through. So
okay.
yeah,
well,
you have
that's
like
cool.
no recollection of like what happened to how did I get in Mexico? It's like yeah, Tropical's like an amnesic gunman that just like woke up
Pretty
in
much.
Mexico. John
I was like,
Marston.
it loads and I was like in some house and I was like, oh yeah, there's houses. Oh, you have to save in houses. Okay. And I remember, well, I remember the cool part where there was the music and you were riding into Mexico or
Oh,
like
yeah,
you got
that
off a
was,
boat
like,
or something.
mwah,
And
cinematic.
like, why am I here?
So good.
And like I guess something bad happened and that's why I'm in Mexico. Because isn't that why people flee to Mexico?
Well, that or drugs.
And and so yeah, throughout the last half of Red Dead Redemption, I was like relearning. It's like, who the heck am I, and why am I here? What am I doing?
The existential crises of video game characters.
And so I guess I helped a revolution in Mexico and it overthrew a general or something. And we had to shoot a bunch of people and apparently you can hog tie people. I was like, oh yeah, I remember this kind of. I was like, but how do I pull him over? It's like, do I have to walk over to him? And then I figured out how to call my horse. And after a while, I was like, oh, now I remember why I never finished this game because I started like picking flowers and like doing all the side stuff, and it was taking forever. And hunting whatever animal I could find.
And getting attacked by cougars.
There weren't any cougars in Mexico as far as, or I didn't get killed by any. But yeah, I decided, okay, I'm here to finish this game, so I've just got to ignore all the other stuff. So when that guy runs over and says that his horse has been stolen, I'm just gonna run away. and
Like, too
finish.
bad, sir.
Yeah, it's like finish the main storyline. So I would like pull up the map and look for the letters, and then like go and do the main story missions. And so this is what one thing I'm going to be really interested with Red Dead 2 is, did they fix, like, is it going to feel like their other games? Because when you do, I remember this game feeling really immersive. I was like, oh, I am this guy living out in the frontier, and I'm just like this feels really real. And this time though, like just playing through the story missions, it is really janky. Like, I don't know if the game hasn't aged well or something, but it feels really bad. Like Spider-Man, when you're playing through Spider-Man's open world and just the way they've structured it with the story and everything, it feels like right. Like it doesn't feel like you finish a mission and then the story ends and you're just like out in the world doing whatever until you decide to go back to one of the mission givers and then you get a next mission. It just feels like it flows really well. Whereas this one, like you go to the mission giver, there is a scene of some sort, and sometimes it's like, weird, you guys are saying too much stuff. Like helpful the first time because I didn't remember anything, but now that I've heard it, and then every time I come back to you, you sort of give the context again. It's like, that's unnecessary. I was just here. The only reason, there was any time between when I last saw you is because the game forces me to ride back from wherever this mission is going to take me. Which later I've remembered how to fast travel. I was like, oh, okay, so I got rid of that.
Oh,
And then it
wow.
got really janky
Because like
because
when
it
you
was
said
just
that
like,
article, I was thinking to myself, did Reddit have fast travel? Because I don't think I ever used it.
apparently I never used it before either. Because I'm looking at the
We're on
map
like a
thing.
carriage, and it's like really long, and I'm just like, yeah, let's skip
Mm.
this. Let's skip ahead here. This is a long carriage. Right?
Well, those are really cool because they say a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of story on the carriage ride. But there
I
was
think only on my
one, I
second
think.
playthrough I did that. So like when I was like replaying it recently, because I was like, let's replay it. Oh no, I don't think I skipped it. Never mind. I just like I thought that was like cool how like they have like long conversations about stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, like it feels sort of really disjointed. Like you go to the guy, he says a thing, then you ride out quite a distance, you do a very short mission thing there, and then he's just like, "All right," and he says another thing, and then he just leaves. He just leaves you, and you're just there by yourself. Like, well, there was more stuff. Like, clearly you have more missions. You're back on the map, but I have to go all the way back to where we started, and then you're gonna say another thing, and we're gonna do it again. And it just reminded me of like why I generally don't like open world games. Like, there's been a few recently that I thought were really good, like Horizon and Spider-Man. I thought, like, even Spider-Man now, there's nothing left for me to do in the city, but I still go back to swing around and just like do stop random crimes, do random crimes. um,
I mean,
this one is just like, oh, this is why I don't like open world. Like, it feels like it's just padded with all this travel that I don't want to be doing. Before, when I was picking flowers, it was fine. But now I'm just, I have a goal in mind. I gotta get to the end. And it's just, it was very annoying. So yeah, I hope in Red Dead 2 they've sort of smoothed it out and it feels, at least narratively, feels better. But I don't know. I I kept trying to think of, if Grand Theft Auto 5 felt less like that. Like, their games have sort of a feel of how they do the story. But yeah, I couldn't remember. And then also, it felt like Marston is a much more detailed looking character than any of the other characters. Even like the main mission givers, none of them seemed quite as detailed. So that was kind of weird. But yeah, I finished the game.
Yay!
I so it's been out what? How
Don't
many
spoil the ending,
years?
Tropical. Don't spoil the ending.
I definitely had it spoiled at some point.
Oh,
So
that's
the
too
whole
bad.
time I was always like, I know something happens here, but it's like totally different than I expected. I thought there would be like credits roll and then it would be this part and then there'd be the other part and I
That's what
was
that was
just
like so weird. Like when that happened to me the first time, it's like you get that part and like credits haven't rolled, so I'm like, wait, there's still more. And then like you
yeah.
get then like I get to the office to get the letter, and it's like, oh yeah, yeah, it's going down. And that was like, ooh, Western justice. And then credits, and it's like, just yeah, perfect ending. I loved it. Just Red Dead Redemption is the best ending ever. Just so good. Like you don't see
It
it
was
coming.
very neat. I was like, oh, it was really funny. Uh, I did not relearn how to do Deadeye until like the last part. I went through all of the rest of Mexico
Wow.
and then the next part without remembering how to do like I remember how to slow time, but I couldn't remember how to like mark and then do like the rapid fire thing. So I would just like slow time for a second to just move my marker over to his head and then shoot. So I always had, enough slow motion because I never used it really. And it wasn't until the end when I'm at the sort of like epilogue or not epilogue, just like peaceful time. I'm just like at one point I was like, okay, how do I do this? I'm looking at a rabbit and I'm just like flowing and then pushing all the buttons like, oh, it's this one. It's like, oh, I thought I had to unlock it or something and maybe I didn't. So then yeah. But I found that what I had been doing was easier. Like it uses far less of the Deadeye meter if you never do the marking and rapid fire thing. Yeah, it was pretty hilarious. What else is there to say? Well, I thought at one point I thought that it was gonna go directly into Undead Nightmare, which I thought tonally would be really strange. Because it like shows the wooden thing and then the scene goes to the next scene and it's the same wooden thing but like sort of horror movie style and I was like, oh, is this when the zombie part starts? But I guess on PlayStation now it's not installed into the standard edition. It's a separate game that you start up. I was like, oh, that's right. Undead Nightmare was a standalone. So, yeah, I might check that out. At least see how it starts before Red Dead 2 comes out. But yeah, I guess I'm not so much excited, but as I am like curious if it's gonna be that much better, or is it gonna be basically a Rockstar game but prettier and more stuff to do. We will see. And I think that's all I've been playing. There's like stuff that I want to play. You know that the new Star Control came out, and I was really excited about that, and I haven't started it yet.
Tisk, tisk,
Pretty
tisk.
bad.
Well,
Just too
Tropical,
many.
Spider-Man came out, and I needed to play it for a month, so it happens.
Yeah. God of War I haven't opened yet.
I just about to say, have you ever started God of War?
I do feel bad about that one. Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Just finished
like-
Red Dead Redemption. Haven't played God of War.
Well, to be fair, I've had Red Dead for far longer.
It could happen again, Tropical. It could happen again. We're in the time
Some
of the
years down the
PlayStation
line,
gaming experience.
PlayStation 5
time,
is out.
or whatever it's called. Not the MCU of PlayStation.
You know,
First party amazingness all the time. I mean, Days Gone did get delayed, so you might get a bit of a window. But Resident Evil 2, dude, that Resident Evil 2 remake, oh my gosh, January. Oh.
It looks crazy.
And Kingdom Hearts, whenever that comes out, is also like in the same.
Oh yeah, I did start playing Kingdom Hearts again because I'm trying to get through all of them.
Good luck with that.
And I decided to do so. You know how I'm sort of lazy as a gamer. I'm just like, I started 1 and I was playing 1, and I've tried to start 1 over again so many times. So like, what's the first Traverse Town? I was like, I hate this part, and I really don't want to go to Alice in Wonderland. And luckily, you can go to the Coliseum first. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. So I went to the Coliseum first. But then, since I hadn't been through Alice in Wonderland, and I had been like running from all the fights, I was like way, way, way under-leveled. That, yeah, I would basically die in 2 hits in the Coliseum. I was like, this is really hard, and I don't have the dodge roll.
The greatest skill.
And I think I had one. No, I had magic because that's part of the story. But it was just, it was really hard, and it just brought back memories of how I played through Crisis Core and The World Ends with You. I was like, oh, I just bypassed as much fighting as I could, and then I got to the end bosses and just like entered. What's that mode? Try hard mode. It was just like, those boss fights took me an hour each, I think. It was just like lots of dodging. It was like, well, my attacks aren't doing much, and if I get hit, then I die, so I have to like. Yeah, those games were rough. I don't like grinding.
Good job. Good job. Good job.
But no, so instead of starting with Kingdom Hearts 1, I decided, you know what? I'll do chronological order. That means the first one is the mobile game.
Movie is the
mobile game movie. So like, sweet. The first thing I do is watch a movie. An hour, and it's
only
quite
an hour
long. It was actually pretty interesting. I was like, oh yeah, I vaguely knew something about this from somewhere, and it's like, cool. I watched a movie. What's the next one? I was like, I think it's Birth by Sleep, right? Yeah. So it's like, well, I've never played that one before, so this should be way more exciting than playing through 1 again. 1 is the only one I've actually finished myself.
So why don't you just skip it and just the other ones instead of restarting it over and over again?
I don't know. That might be the smart move. Yeah, 2 I never finished. That was one of those situations where I saw someone else play through it, and then I was like, I lost interest in playing through it myself. But that was, man, these games are super old. So I don't remember anything. Except for Traverse Town and Alice in Wonderland. This time I was like, I'm just going to cheat. I mean, I've definitely done it before, and I just don't remember. So I was just like, I looked up a guide, just tell me where the clues are. I don't want to go hunt for them. Just let me get through Alice in Wonderland. Yeah, anything else? I don't think so. I think that's all I've been playing.
Well, I didn't play much because I was like gone for some time during this month, but I did make some more headway in Dragon Quest 11. I think it is 11 or 10 or something. Dragon Quest. So I think I'm en route to recruit the final party members for the group. So I guess once I get through that, then the main story stuff will really be going. Because usually when it gets to like Dragon Quest stuff, it's mostly about recruiting people at first before they actually do anything major. So there has all the story stuff has been kind of like crap. What's it called when it's like localized in one area kind of thing? It's that. But it's that.
So like local.
Well, no, because there's like an actual word for it. Because like the stories are like each of the towns are like self-contained kind of thing. Maybe that's the word I was looking for. But it's so it's like nothing's been like there's like the little backbone story kind of thing, with you being the fugitive for the time being. But most of the city stuff is all self-contained until you gather the various characters. So the obligatory tournament arc has happened, so the final characters are about to join. So guessing after that, all the real story stuff begins, and then that's when the 60-hour trug begins. All the fun story time. So, yay! Yay! But it's a pretty fun game though. I've been enjoying what I have been playing of it anyway, and since they've kind of like vamped up the battle system a little bit and everything, it's more interesting. So it's not all just overly traditional. So it keeps stuff kind of fun. So you're like engaged while you're playing and not just like the old style of Dragon Questing stuff. 'Cause I think that's probably why I kind of fell out of it with the series, because it's always been so like traditional, while other series and things have kind of started doing different things and using different settings and all these other things, and they kind of just stayed the same over the years. So it's kind of just like, I don't want to do this. But this one's kind of taken a few steps forward. It's still like the typical fantasy setting, but they've tried to up it a little bit to keep it interesting. So we shall see how that goes. But let's see. And then other than that, it's I've been playing Valkyria Chronicles 4. So that game I've been enjoying. They've added a few things like the new character classes and stuff. Although I do have one issue with like there's one of the main characters. He's kind of, I don't know, he's not very likable. I don't know if it's intentional, or which it might be, because they did a similar thing with Rosie in the original game, but he is not Rosie, and I do not know how this is going to go, because it's like he's not only is his like personality abrasive, but he's also like a sexual harasser. So it's like, in the current climate, it's kind of like cringy in some parts, because it's like, I don't know how I feel about this, because like he always makes all these comments, or these sexual comments about women and stuff, and they do have a female teammate as part of the main cast. So, but I mean, there's one scene where he like blatantly grabs her butt. And she does punch him for it, but it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, it's very awkward to have with how things are right now, with the whole Me Too thing and all the other stuff that's going on right now, to have a character like that. And it's like, I don't know how I feel about this, because it's like 90% of his cutscene time is devoted to him being a sleazebag. So it's like, I don't know where this is gonna go. So I don't know if he's gonna like later get like a arc like Rosie did in hers, or in the first game, but for the timing, I'm not like a huge fan of his. And it's like, the only reason why I keep him in the group is because, the extra command point for the battle. So it's like, kind of have to have him around. So it's like, this is kind of, I don't know. And he's a stormtrooper too, so it's like he's useful to have. So it's like, this is just not a fun time to have this guy as part of the party right now. So, but I mean, other than him, like everyone else is cool. There seems to be a lot of childhood stuff going on, because some of the people in the squad knew each other when they were kids, so they have their whole little backstory and stuff going on. And as usual, the new recruits for the groups that join before each, well, they join, but I think like they do it like before each major cutscene stuff. They'll have them introduce the new recruits and everything, and they all have their own little things going on for them. So they do keep the whole unique characters things, even for like the side characters and stuff that you have going on, which is cool. So yeah, it's been pretty enjoyable now. The missions are pretty cool. There was one mission where there's a bunch of like decoy tanks in the city, and you have to find out which ones are the real ones. So it's like heavy fog, so you have to send the characters out to like ID the tanks or whatever. But then after you do that, there's another mission where you have to like use these towers to like signal where the real ones are, so the grenadier or whatever the new class is called has can destroy the tanks and everything. So they have some fun new missions to do stuff on, but yeah, I've been enjoying the game outside of that one character guy, so I'm not sure how that's going to play out, but guess we shall see. I guess we shall see. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've been playing, so yeah.
All right.
All right.
Tons of news time, I guess.
Yep. It's about talking about the news and the news. 'Cause it's been a month and a lot of stuff has happened. Some of it was pretty significant. I mean, I think the first thing definitely was TellTale shutting down out of the blue.
That killed me.
That was insane.
And the final season wasn't even done yet, and then it's like, yeah, we can't even finish that either. Maybe we can. Up in there. It's like, why? No. Among Us Season 2 was right around the corner.
It's true.
That
They had
has been
announced
so
it and
good.
everything. Then it's like LOLs.
It's like, I'll never know. I'll never know.
Well, you will for the end of The Walking Dead anyway,
I
but
know, but that Among Us ending. That Among Us ending will like now be immortal of like one. Nobody will ever know. Nobody will ever know.
I know. I'll always
Unless
know.
they make a graphic novel about it, and they're like, well, it was based on comics. We'll finish in the comics.
I'm conflicted about the last season of The Walking Dead. Because on the one hand, it would be cool to see how it ends. And it seems like... So what happened was they announced that they weren't going to finish it. And then there was some talk about them finding a partner to help finish it. And then I guess Skybound Entertainment, the logo of which you've probably seen at the beginning of the games, because they make The Walking Dead, they're going to be finishing it with, hopefully, TellTale staffers. So...
Yeah, that was the thing. It's like, they're like, yeah, everybody's laid off. We fired them all.
250 people, just out of the blue.
God.
Like, oh, you have no work.
We have like a
And
bad
we
bunch
can't
crew
give you
working on it.
severance.
It'll be done eventually, maybe. And then it's like, yeah, we got rid of them too.
Yeah,
And it's
because
like,
at
oh,
first they were like they
this is-
retained a small group of them, but then after that they were just like, nope, they let us go too. And it's like,
Then it's like, now we're looking for partners to maybe finish. It's like, wait, what? Without the original team? No. That's not cool.
So yeah, I'm kind of like, on the one hand, it would be cool to see the ending, but on the other hand, it's almost as awesome that there would never be an ending.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's crazy. Like, they seem to be doing well, just purely from the outside, from someone who knows nothing about the inside. But then there had been that article where it was like, oh yeah, we, this guy, he managed us poorly and messed up the studio, and that's why we're in this situation. Like, all the games seem kind of the same because The Walking Dead was our hit, and so management was like, all the games have to be like The Walking Dead. And then yeah, I guess that was not exciting enough to get the sales, which is what you need. And so
despite
now
all the critical acclaim that the games drew.
I mean, well, so Tekken, you're the only one who's played any of the final season. Like, how was it? Did you get the second episode, or
I got
did
it, but I
they pull
didn't
it
play
down?
it, because at that point I was bummed out. I was like,
Okay.
yep. No point.
You cannot
Drive that
download
movie
the second
deeper.
episode anymore. Like, they took it. Everything is off the store now. Which, I mean, that's fair. But still.
But basically, it was like, they took all the stuff that they've been implementing since Batman Enemy Within, where it's like you have the choices, but then you also have the relationships with all the characters. So it's like you have, twofold choice consequence thing going on top of all like the overarching like choices of like the major choices, which is like what bums me out because like I could see like their formula getting better with like every game that they were making towards the end. It's like Enemy Within was so good, and just like the way that ended for me was just like, oh, I can't wait for next season, and there's not gonna be a next season. And then like
There is not.
and then they implemented it into the Walking Dead, which was like the only thing that was like weird about that is like they made it more gamey than like the past Walking Dead, so there's like more parts in that where there's like actual like game stuff going on where it's like you had to actually kill zombies and like fight them as opposed
oh
to just,
yeah.
like, being mostly dialogue, like 90% dialogue and
Yeah, because they
10%
did make a
gameplay.
point of that when they were just like, oh yeah, the next thing is going to have more bows and all this other stuff, and then it's
It'd
like,
be
oh,
like
by the way, we
playable
got shut
stuff.
down. So it's like it was kind of weird.
It's really crazy, like how much new like Telltale was in the news a lot before it happened, and a lot of it, earlier there was like some bad stuff, but most of this was like good stuff. They
It
were
seemed
talking
like they were
about
like writing hikes.
their
They, like,
new
had all these
engine.
new like properties that they had like games coming out. With,
Yeah.
like, the Marvel stuff. We're all like, oh man, what'll it be? What'll it be? Did you play the Guardians game, Practical?
I haven't finished it yet,
Ah,
so
'cause even that was
it's
really
sort of, yeah, I have a bunch of stuff left, and then so one of my concerns was with PlayStation Now. Like, there's a lot of Telltale games on there, and what happens when Telltale is completely gone? Like, is all that stuff just going to get removed from the store? Or, I mean, chances are someone will buy it up, right?
Piece.
I imagine so. I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll see. But like, that's just like also weird to me because like The Walking Dead was like their only story that they finished. Everything
Yeah.
else was like in continuity still. Nothing had dropped except for that one.
Yeah, Game of Thrones.
I
I
know
was
the Foresters. We'll never
excited to
know.
see what
We'll never
happened.
know what will happen to the Ironwood clan. Ah.
Why do you need to finish that? I didn't remember that.
And I was like in the minority because I like that one. Everybody else was like, it's terrible. I thought it was great.
I don't know, it's fine. Yeah, so Telltale, like the Telltale is the one that hurts, I think. There was also Capcom Vancouver got shut down. They were the Dead Rising people. But like, what was the last Dead Rising game you played?
The first one.
Which
When I still
was
had
not
a
even made by
360.
them.
I still had a 360.
They didn't even make that one. So, yeah. But yeah, there was other major stuff. Like, there was one week that I felt like everything changed as far as the three consoles. Nintendo started up their online service, so now online is not free anymore. You gotta pay $20 for a year. Very cheap compared to the other ones, anyway. And then also you get access to their sort of NES library, classic library, which is, so I've played it, and if you've played NES games, that's kind of what it is, except that the controller setup, I think, is really weird. Like, if you imagine the PlayStation controller, you would think that you would hold square, right? And that would be your B button. And then X would be A, so you could jump. So like Super Mario Brothers, you'd be able to run and jump. But they have it reversed on the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
And just like the placement of the buttons makes running and jumping a bit trickier than the original console. Which is probably why they're selling classic NES controllers for the Switch that only work with the classic NES games. Apparently there's online multiplayer for those games too, but I haven't tried any of that. I've heard that it's pretty laggy and kind of bad, so...
Oh no.
Yeah. But yeah, so Nintendo has joined the pay us for online. That same week, PlayStation announced that PlayStation Now would now include downloadable games. So, in the sense that the games in the library for PlayStation Now, you'd be able to download them if they happen to be PS4 or PS2 to PS4 sort of conversions.
So you would just be able to download it but to keep them?
I think it works the same as like PlayStation Plus. So as long as you keep your
You're
subscription active,
subscribed.
you can still use them. But yeah, you can. It's basically the thing that people have been asking for, or like. So yeah, the reason I felt like this was a big change because like Xbox has had Game Pass for a while, and it was basically only the download part. You pay a subscription and then you can download from this library of games and play them directly from your hard drive. And then PlayStation's was like, oh, we have this library of games, but it's streaming, so if you want to play it, you got to stream them. And now PlayStation Now also includes downloads, and Xbox, Microsoft, they announced that they're going to have a streaming service at some point. And they're targeting things like tablets and PCs and stuff like that. So it's all kind of the same now, I guess. PlayStation Now, so after the news came out, I went and looked at the library. There's around 670 games on PlayStation now.
Oh my.
And about a third of them, so like 200 or so, are either PS4 games or PS2 games that they've ported to PS4. And those are now all available for download. And I tried it, and it's basically, it's like you download a digital game and then you can play it on your system.
I guess that would make things easier if you had issues with your internet or whatever, so you don't have to...
I think it's pretty smart. It's a good call. Like, they can't... The other ones, I guess they could allow... I mean, allowing the download part, I think, is the easy part. How to get a PS4 to play a PS3 game is the hard part. Because the rest of them are all PS3 games. There's only 2 PS4 games that you can't download from PlayStation Now, which is Doki Doki Universe. Tekken mentioned this game long ago. He thought it was pretty neat. And then...
Because he's weird.
There was another one. It was also like a small... I think it was like Sound Shapes, maybe. You can't download either, for some reason. But all other PS4 games on there you can download now. And there's really big games on there as well.
I saw that and I kind of wanted to try it because I was like, ooh, I've always wanted to like download a bunch of those for my PS3, but now I play them on my PS4 all the time, so I wouldn't ever bother with doing that. And it's like, yay, if I have PS4.
PlayStation Now, both of them now are just... It's really crazy how many games you can get for not a lot of money anymore. PlayStation Plus used to be the thing. Now I think with the addition of like PlayStation Now, it's really hard for me to buy games because now I have to check my list. So I got a spreadsheet to say, okay, these are the games that I bought digitally. These are the ones that are available on PlayStation Now to download, which is basically the same thing, except, if I ever stop subscribing, then I won't have them. And then I gotta keep in mind, like, well, PlayStation Plus free games eventually might come to that, or which are the ones that I have on disc. And I can't even keep those keep track of those anymore. But yeah, potentially for $160 for a year, you just have like 300-400 games to play on your PlayStation. It is crazy, and those are just the ones that you can download onto the system. if you want to stream stuff, there's even more. There's like 1,000 games. That is more games than you can play. I'm starting to think that I may have more games than I can play in my lifetime. I haven't done the math, but it seems kind of like that might be the situation.
Well, the
Considering
problem is
that I have
because
to
you want to
sleep.
play everything. You just need to focus on games
I
you
guess
actually
that's
want to
true.
play.
I I want to play everything.
That's the problem.
So, yeah. It's a super good deal for me. Well, have either of you ever tried PlayStation Now?
I have
I think I
not.
tried it once, but it wasn't on my own PlayStation. It was
Mm,
my nephew was like using his trial, but it was at my
mm,
grandparents' house, so I'm not sure.
uh,
I don't think their internet was as good as mine,
they
but it
reset the
seemed
trial
decent.
apparently.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they thought that this was a pretty significant change. So anyone who's done the 7-day trial can do it again now to I don't know, see the download thing, which is like I mean, it's just regular downloads except that you're paying for it differently. And I guess it goes to a different page. But yeah, like as far as the consoles, I thought that week was pretty interesting. Like, wow, there was a big change in everyone's online offerings this week. Mm,
I mean, during that though, because I mean, I saw a lot of people like complaining about the Nintendo thing because when they decided to do the pay for online thing,
mm,
because I guess there was some issue with the whole cloud storage being behind a
yeah,
paywall, and
it's kind of
then they're
sucky.
and then they're just like, oh, but you don't get the same because like I guess with like at least with PlayStation Plus, I don't really know how it works with Xbox Live anymore. But it's like you get the free games every month, and then you already have the cloud storage and everything prior to that. But then you also have a much bigger hard drive than whatever Nintendo's offering as their base anyway.
Mm,
But then people were just there was just like a list of complaints of things because they're like, well, why am I going to pay for this in the first place? Because now they're hiding basic stuff behind paywalls and not even giving like the advanced stuff that the other subscription based services are giving. And I was like, well, I mean, you're not obligated to buy it if you don't want it or play online because I mean, a lot of their stuff is still single player just fine. So it's like you don't have to get these things, but I mean,
I think that's one of the things. Like, well, maybe people have forgotten. Like Xbox Live in the beginning was just a paywall, and they put stuff behind it, and people paid it anyway. It wasn't until PlayStation Plus when people decided, it's like, hey, like these things should offer more. And then, after Xbox 360 fell out of, or after Xbox fell out of the top spot, that's when they're like, oh yeah, so there's gonna be, you'll get more stuff with Live, you'll get games and things like that. And then that's when PlayStations became, well, now you have to pay to play online, haha. And then yeah, like so now Nintendo, I mean, to be fair, theirs is a lot cheap. It's like less than
it is.
half
But
of
that's what I was saying.
like a
I was
third
like,
of the
it's like a
price.
third of what it is for the other ones. So I mean,
And
you
it
can only
does
complain
kind of
so
have free
much.
games. They're just really old. They're from the 80s. And then, but yeah, like it sort of sucks. Like there is no way to back up your saves on a Switch except
Also that.
Nintendo Switch Online. And even then, like it doesn't. Apparently, like there's certain circumstances where it won't work or something.
Yeah. There was just a whole issue with it in the first place because yeah, like you said, since there's no way to back up your saves, they were like, well, now I have to pay to do so,
Yeah.
and people were not pleased, to say the least.
Yeah, it was weird because I did get it day one, and then I played a few NES games, and then I was like, Well, I mean, this is basically exactly the same as before. I mean, I wasn't worried about my saves getting deleted. I lived through the time of memory cards. Like, that stuff just happens.
Well, you also have a small child to worry about accidentally deleting your stuff, though. So I mean,
I don't know if this would
backing
help.
up your stuff would have been useful. But
What would help there is if they made deleting less fun looking.
it's like, don't make it look so fun. She loves deleting things now. It's like, we're sorry. We're sorry.
There was another big thing. It was in my head, and then it
Was it the
fell out.
crossplay thing?
Crossplay. Oh yeah, I guess that happened too.
That also happened as well.
Yeah, Fortnite open beta crossplay between
All of the consoles.
Yeah.
All
PlayStation
of
is
them.
open now.
I am quite curious as to the being a fly on the wall during the discussion for that one, because I mean they were so adamant about not doing it in the first place, and then it's all of a sudden it's like, "JK guys, JK, we're doing it."
I was actually
We're doing
surprised
it.
that they folded because I was like, they're not gonna let this one go, are they?
Money
I feel
talks.
like they were gonna. That one, it did get to a point, I think, where it did feel like they were gonna fold. And the other thing was, it was sort of a really ridiculous situation with Fortnite. Like, it wasn't just that you couldn't play with other consoles. It was that if you had used it on PS4, you couldn't use that account
Locked you off
anymore
from the
on other
ones.
consoles.
Yeah.
I was like, that is really weird. Because you don't control this account. Epic controls this account, and I guess you've told them, hey, if they've used it on PlayStation, I want you to lock it on other consoles.
Because
Crazy.
They want to keep them on their console because
Yeah.
I mean, I guess Fortnite has gotten to the point where it's like, if you can try to get something exclusive out of it, then it would be a boon to whichever platform that you're using it on, or whoever's the platform holder, because it's like, well, you can only get it here, and it's the biggest game in the world right now, so you want to buy my console so that way you can get the best version of this game. So
Yeah, I think it's really funny because it's like, I can see how it makes sense between Xbox and PlayStation because they're basically the same thing, except that, PlayStation is ours and Xbox is theirs. So that's why we don't want to allow it. And, in fact, it was an issue on the Xbox. It's just we never heard anything about it. It wasn't until the Switch version when it was like, I want to be able to play Fortnite outside and I want to use my PS4 account. And then they found out they couldn't.
LOLs,
I was like,
you can't.
that's a totally different thing. It's like, this is the portable Fortnite.
Which would have
So,
basically
yeah.
made it the better Fortnite for people. Because then
The thing
they
is-
I can take it anywhere. I mean, sure, it won't last long, but anywhere.
It also doesn't play as well. Like, I tried it once and then I was like, I don't know why I would want this.
You're not the version I want.
I'm not one of those people who takes their Switch outside to play.
But if you were,
If I was, then yeah, maybe.
because
I
then
don't live in one of those public transportation type places where they could do that. Where I could do that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, at that point I really thought, like PlayStation has sort of cultivated this image of like the good guy this generation. Like Nintendo is Nintendo and Xbox is the greedy corporation, and and PlayStation was like, oh, we're the good guys. Like, we're all about games, and this is how you lend a game to a friend, and just like all that stuff. So at that point, I felt like it really was, if you don't do this now, like, the image of the good guy image you've cultivated all generation is gone. Which I don't know if it's going to affect sales, but you know, they were doing it for some reason. The other thing that they announced was that PSN name changes would be coming soon. They're like in testing now.
Oh yeah, it's in beta right now.
Should be available next year. Apparently, it was a big challenge to do. Did you see this thing? Like, so
I saw like somebody post like there's like a whole list of rules and involved, and it was like multiple pages. So I was like, oh dear. This is not.
I don't know if it's like the rules thing. The thing that I saw was like the exceptions. Apparently, like PSN name changes won't necessarily work on everything. So I guess like the game has to support it. Otherwise, your original PSN name will appear on leaderboards or something, or sometimes in multiplayer it'll still appear as your original name, and you might lose access to like content that you've purchased if you change your PSN name. And it's like, how was the PSN name originally implemented here? Because it seems like it's tied to actual like important stuff. Especially like if you can lose purchases.
Yeah, just about to say. So it's deeply ingrained in there. Maybe that's why it took them so long to allow the whole changing thing.
Yeah, it seems like it is not done yet, even. Because those are some pretty big risks, and also like you get a free one, and then every name change after that, you have to pay money.
There was something about you being able to revert back to your original one if you wanted to, but there are rules and stipulations behind that as well. So it's like there's a lot going into this. So for the people who were looking forward to this, you better think carefully about whatever you go in doing. Because
I'm just glad it's like out of the way, because that was such like an annoying, whatchamacallit,
requests that we kept hearing.
Yes. Because it's like every time there was like an update, everybody's like, can we change our names now? Can we change our names now? I was like, okay. Maybe if you would have thought about what you changed your name to in the first place, you wouldn't have to worry about having to change your name, would you? So
I'd like never have to worry about hearing about it ever again.
Well, now that
you probably will.
How it is.
I just wanted to say, it's like they'll just complain about the process of it now. So there's that. Because once they do implement it, I guarantee you there's going to be a lot of growing pains with this. So
apparently, like,
not every game.
You thought it was going to be sort of this, it's not actually stored like that in their system. It's stored as like a number, or it's like connected to your email address or something. But no, apparently your name is tied to everything. The thing that you sat there and thought, well, I really want to play this game now, and I don't care what I'm called, so I'm just going to type in random stuff. Like, that thing matters.
Because maybe you fell out of love with Destiny fan 273.
I see a lot of those when I play, too, and I'm like, man, I'm so sorry for that person.
But it's like,
those are crazy to me. I look at those and like, wait, is this your first game? You think this is the only game you're gonna play?
Because sometimes I see this, I'm like, I don't know if that's a good idea, because what if you end up hating it or not ever playing the game again or something?
Like, PS Plus isn't free, If you need to change your, like, at this point, you gotta start a new account and get new PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting once it actually goes into full, because it's supposed to be early next year or something, where the actual release for it. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of disaster this causes when it happens. Because I can only imagine. But I mean, I guess that was the only really major thing that they could have left for any of the like system updates. Because I know when they do these betas, they usually try to do something that's like major, but I don't really know what's left after that. Because
yeah, apparently the people, like, firmware 6.0 released in the last month, and people
Nothing
were like
major.
disappointed
Yeah, it was me.
that there was nothing. It's like, it's a whole number. It should be something big. I'm like, nope, nothing.
It's just keep up maintenance, guys. Just keeping up maintenance. So yeah, I mean, they'll have to get over it because with the PS5 probably coming soon, they gotta build a bridge, man. Build a bridge.
Do you think it's coming soon?
I mean, there's been a lot of rumors lately, so I mean, there's a good chance that next year it's going to get either teased and or announced, and then we'll be seeing it hit the shelves in 2020. Is my guess.
I think it's farther.
Probably
after
like
that.
probably
Just
like
because-
2020 holiday season ish
Just
kind of.
because Death Stranding is going to be the swan song, and we still have Tsushima, that Last of Us 2. Days
Remember the one
Gone.
time that games like Versus 13 and The Last Guardian started on consoles and then ended up in the next generation
I
because
mean,
they were
it
like,
could still be cross-play, but or cross whatever it's
And-
called.
not to mention
Cross-gen.
what do we know about Death Stranding except that it's going to be weird.
I mean, they released a bunch of gameplay footage though, so it's you know.
Uh-huh. Yep. So did the previous games I just mentioned.
But they're not Square Enix, and they don't know they know how to actually manage
The
their
Last
releases,
Guardian wasn't Square
so-
Enix.
Yeah, that was one game, and it got
So,
released
I don't know.
sooner than Kingdom Hearts 3.
I don't know. What Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming out in January. It's not. It's not.
Yeah, but it's been a long time.
But they've released other Kingdom Hearts games in that time. It's not like you were waiting that entire time for another entry.
Let's see what you want, RPG.
But yeah, so I mean, I'm thinking there'll probably be some kind of release because I mean we're by then we'll be what 7 years into the PS4, so it seems like it would make sense. So I don't know.
I
Get
still
ready,
think
guys.
It's gonna be so. I think this was also during the month that we weren't here. There's no PSX this year
I know.
because they were like, oh, because we don't really have that much to put together a show for, so we're just not gonna do it. And then, yeah, a lot of the speculation was like, well, it's gonna be PS5. That's why they're not gonna show.
Yeah,
They're
right.
waiting for E3, and I was like,
Not gonna happen.
I still don't think so.
Well, they didn't even reveal the PS4 at E3. They did a separate
Yeah, it was in February.
thing for that, so that wouldn't have been a reason to do that. So I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, like I said, they'll probably tease it or something, but I don't think we'll see anything like major until 2020 at the earliest, and then we'll
Yeah.
kind of go from there. But I mean, I do think it's going to happen fairly soon rather than later. But I mean,
Well, so here's a question. I don't know if anyone knows the answer, but it's like, does it matter to get out first?
I think it kind of does actually.
You think it does?
does it though? I mean,
Asterisk, if you have a higher price point, it does.
because Xbox One got premiered before the PS4, didn't it?
No.
Or did it
PS4
come
showed
after?
first.
It did. Oh, okay.
And then it released first.
Like they were like really close to each other or something. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if it's like. Well, then again, because the 360 did come before the PS3,
Yeah.
that kind of worked out in their favor too.
Historically, like, also PS2 came out before Xbox and GameCube, right?
Yeah.
The only one that didn't win was Dreamcast. They came out
Well,
before PS2.
that was for many other reasons. But I don't know if that. I mean, I guess in the sense like coming out first kind of gets people hyped about your console, and then because you're like, well, you're the first thing they saw, so they're like, oh, let me keep thinking about that. But it's like at the same time, though, I feel like you kind of have to like show something to stay interesting though, because I think even because even with the PlayStation 4 coming out first, I mean, Xbox One wasn't really all that exciting for their reveal because that was all TV and sports, and it's like, sure, there are people who are interested in those things, but it's like, I mean, is your core audience going to be like, is that a selling point for them? So it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, I think it kind of, while it does help to be first, at the same time, you still have to have, interesting content too. It's not just like, oh yeah, let me just do that. Because I mean, I'm pretty sure, didn't the Switch already overtake the Xbox One in sales too?
I think so. Yeah, that makes sense because Switch was the last one, and
because it was the last one up. Yeah. So
last.
So I mean, I think it does help, but part of it, I'm pretty sure, has to do with actual marketability.
Mm.
I mean, they did at least get rid of Connect, so there's that. But yeah. So I mean, I don't know. The only problem for Microsoft though is because they went through all this trouble with the Xbox One, whatever the super one is, that one. I don't remember. Since they went through all the trouble for that one, I mean, they're gonna be hard pressed to be like, well, now we have our new Xbox coming out, because it's like, well, I mean, you did all of this for the most powerful console ever, and all this other nonsense that they went through, and it would be kind of bad for them to try to keep up with the Joneses at this point. So, I mean, it actually might work well, not Nintendo, because they just released the Switch, so that's probably not that's gonna be a ways off. But it'll probably work out in Sony's favor, because if they do release first, that means they kind of like forced Microsoft's hand, because it's like, on the one hand, they can't really try to follow suit, because again, it's gonna make it look like the whole Xbox One thing was kind of like pointless to go through all that trouble when they did all this marketing and all this talking about how it's the most powerful console ever, and et cetera, and all this other nonsense. And then it's like, oh, but we have this new console. But at the same time, if they don't release something, then it's like, you guys are way behind. We don't want your stuff now, because now we have a much better console that's already happening. So why would we want to get your crap? So it's like they're kind of like in an awkward position because of what they did with the Super Xbox. I don't know what it's called.
Xbox One.
That.
Just an X on the RPG.
It's like, I honestly don't know what they called that thing. So that. Well, no, because they went through so many code names and crap for all these Xbox Ones that they did. Now I'm just confused on what they are now. So they're kind of in an awkward position if Sony does decide to go ahead and be like, well, we hit our 7-year part of the cycle, so we can start doing our new console while still supporting our other one, while you have to flounder because you did what you did. So enjoy your doomedness. So it would be interesting to see how that whole thing plays out. Because, I mean, the advantage is kind of in Sony's favor right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I keep thinking, like, Microsoft really wants to win next generation. So I feel like they've kind of given up this generation. Like, definitely still trying to make money because they got to do it. But then I think they're mostly gearing up for the next one.
But that was kind of a waste of time then. Because it's like, why bother with the Super Xbox if you're not going to, use it for anything? As a matter of fact, did they use it for anything? Because...
Well, no. But, like, that was the thing. When they had first announced it, I was like, this makes no sense. Like, it's the most powerful console, but the way you've sold it, it's the most powerful console shackled to the least powerful console. You can't do anything crazy awesome on the X, because then it won't work on the S, and then you basically have a different console.
Is that? So it's like one of those things where it's like they kind of shot themselves in the foot because it's like, what was even the point? Because if you didn't release this console to get exclusive, like, I mean, content or exclusive games or whatever, it's like, why even bother? Why even bother? You could have just tried to actually work on making actual games for your console and actually having, stuff be released and not canceled every 5 minutes, and then maybe you would have been all right. But they did not do
Well,
that.
yeah, I think they knew that there was no way for them to do it. Like, the only way to do it is what they did, which was go and buy studios.
Which still hasn't worked out for them. So
Oh, yeah, and then the other thing is, like, there's no way to, after you've bought the studios, there's no way to be like, oh, now we have games right now. It's going to take time.
yeah, it was just
So
a
they like released an expensive console so that they could get some people to buy it. Definitely some people bought it. And then but yeah, I think they're setting up for the next one.
I just think it was a poor move on their part, and then releasing another one so soon would be a equally poor move on their part, because now it's like, well, our most powerful console ever is now not the most powerful console ever because we've made this console. So we're sorry if you bought this.
Back to my problem with of all time. To me, of all time includes the future.
It's true. It's like, you're obviously going to make more powerful consoles after this. So it's like, that's not the best way to market
the most powerful console so far.
Yeah, so I just think they just did all the wrong things with this. Just all the wrong things. So I'm sorry if there's any diehard Microsoft fans out there, but your company shot themselves in the foot. They done goofed, man. They done goofed. So at this point,
next gen is going to be crazy.
Although at the same time, I'm kind of like, do I really want a next gen to happen anytime soon? Because it's like
this one is like so good, like where we're at, like we don't really need a PS5.
That's true.
And not only that, I'm like, what kind of technical advance?
God of War, Detroit, or Spider-Man? Have you not seen the amazingness? Have you not seen the amazingness that's still come with Tsushima and Last of Us 2? Oh, Ghost of Tsushima! Resident Evil 2 Remake still looks amazing as well. So close.
Yeah, it feels very different. Like, other end of generation times, they felt less exciting. Like, right now, it still feels really exciting on PS4. The excitement train hasn't stopped. It's not slowing down.
It is not.
So it just... every time people talk about PS5, I'm like, why would you want that? Why would you want that?
Because my thing is, it's like, at this point, like, they would have, like, I'm trying to think of what feature they could add to make it, like, worth the trouble other than just making prettier graphics. And it's like, I mean...
No loading ever. Instant everything.
Oh,
well, I guess, like, from Digital Foundry, so today's consoles, like, the PS3 compared to PS4, simulation stuff-wise, they're kind of the same beast. Like, because the CPUs are not that much more powerful. It was, like, the graphics side that really improved, because they put in way more powerful graphics and, way more memory, which helps with graphics. So we have very similar type games that just look and play better. Or like run better, but they're not significantly different. And so yeah, they're talking about
they give them a bigger, better bucket to put things in, and it worked.
Yeah, basically.
You can hold more water, guys. You can hold more water.
But yeah, so for next gen, I don't remember if this was one of their speculations, but like, it would be interesting if consoles sort of rebalance that power, and so it was like, you have really powerful graphics, but then also like really powerful CPUs. And like, what kind of games would that produce? Who knows?
I don't know, man. Between the rumors and the rumors, I don't know. And then
I don't want a PS5 right now.
I don't. I mean,
Like-
because I don't either. But at the same time, I'm just like, what could happen on a PS5? See, that's the problem with stuff like this. Because now it's like, it's gonna always be in the back of my mind, like, but also this could be happening.
I mean, that is a good point though. It's like, because wasn't that like the argument I was making like a while ago? Is like there aren't or like something that I remember saying is like, there aren't that many games on PS4 that are like just terrible or bad. It's just like everything's like just really solid and good all the time.
Yep.
Because I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm already excited about stuff that's coming out anyway, so it's like it's not like I have to run out and buy a PS5 anyway if it does happen. So
And after the whole Slim Pro thing, I'm just gonna wait anyway. So.
Also that
I got burned.
'cause they probably will have another thing like that. So it's like I can probably wait. You probably wait. So
Yeah, I also don't even like care when I hear about PS5 stuff. So I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Whatever.
I will not be able to stop me from buying a PS5, so I'm counting
Obviously.
on them to stop me by not making one yet.
like, that's the only way to stop Tropical is by not having it exist.
If it doesn't exist, then I can't buy it. I cannot even want it. I can sit here because it doesn't exist and say I don't want it.
That is funny. It's like only until it's an actual thing that exists will I want it. Until then, I don't want it.
Which I guess is good as long as they don't actually show you anything, because then at that point you're like, well, this is happening. So
Son of a.
it's like we were doing fine, guys. We were doing fine. So, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how next year goes, because I mean, again, next year is like loaded with stuff too. So, I mean, if they do say anything, it'll probably be at like a PSX like sometime later on, like next holiday or something. But I don't think it's going to be too early, because the first half of the year next year is just full of so much stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, and they've been really good with like sort of promoting, or at least not drowning out their partners. So that's why we have these amazing second half of winter and like spring times now. It's like, third party, everybody, exclusive deals and stuff. You guys take the holiday, the traditional time, and then we'll just come out in the slow season, which is now a packed February.
I just want to say there is no slow season now. There is no.
Eventually, like Sony first party games will come out in the summer.
Just like, because it's like I have so much stuff happening next year. It's like Devil May Cry, Kingdom Hearts, Ghost of Tsushima, Seki died twice, Thingamabobs, and all these other things.
The Horizon year, where it's like Horizon year, Persona, you had like stuff every month.
That was a crazy.
Yeah, because Nier was out that period too. Yeah, it was just like, it's just so much stuff now.
Rush 2 came out that year too.
It did. Like
in January or something.
So it's like, the only real lull you get is like around E3 time, because people are prepping up for that before they start releasing crap again. So
nobody can promote it because they're at E3.
It's like, we don't have time for this. We have E3 to go to, guys. But I guess it's fine. Square Enix isn't working on a new engine yet, so that means PS5 can't be that close. So it's fine. It's all fine, guys. It's all fine. But when they do premiere that new engine, it's happening. It's happening.
My prediction is like Xbox goes first for everything this coming gen.
You think so?
I think so. I think they'll try to show first.
Sorry, I don't know that one.
I'm not talking to you.
She's like, I wanted to chime in on the conversation too.
Yeah, I think they like show first. They'll find, someone, maybe there'll be like a crazy more awesome version of Cyberpunk or whatever on their next console, and then they're gonna show with that or something else, probably a first party thing, and then
A Gears game.
they'll try to launch first. And yeah, I think they're gonna try to get ahead.
I think that would be a bad idea on their parts. I don't know, man. I mean, it would be. It's a good idea. Well, it's a good idea, but it would be a bad move.
They don't.
Accurate.
They don't care about that. They announced 2 consoles at the same
I agree with Rod.
press
I
briefing.
agree with Rob.
Did.
I feel like they kind of feel like winning at any cost at this point, so they're probably just gonna have maybe one thing to show, like the new Halo thing that they showed, and that at the C3, and then just do what they did with 360, where it's they have third-party launch exclusives or whatever, but they're not actually exclusives, and just be we'll try to trick them the old-fashioned way. Mwahaha.
Because they've been doing really interesting things. They've been optimizing. One of the things Digital Foundry's analysis talked about was that it wouldn't be until 2020 when there would be technology that would represent a generational leap from where we are now, as far as game consoles. And 2020 is the earliest at which that technology would be available at prices that would be okay for a console. And so,
yes, the price.
Yeah, there's a physical reality barrier that we cannot surpass right now. So what Xbox has done is they've done things that traditionally you wouldn't really see. So, a lot of their PC games right now have dynamic resolution, which was a console thing only before. But then, I think it fits really well on PC because everyone has different PCs and it's not this standard box. So with the dynamic resolution scaling, people don't have to go in and adjust settings until the game will actually run well on their system. It just sort of adjusts itself. And then with the design of the Xbox One X, they went in pretty deep into the hardware to really sort of tune it. Like a car, it's the same car, but they tuned it to a point where it performs a lot better than a stock car. And so, they've invented this is how this chip is powered, and it's we invented this, and it just makes it run better. So I wonder, if they're gonna combine a lot of that sort of stuff with whatever the latest technology that is affordable at that point, 2020, and try to get out as quickly as possible. We have made a really powerful thing that we're really happy with,
Time.
Even though other people are going to have newer technologies available, maybe, but we will be out first, and we don't feel like our power will be that far below because we've done a bunch of custom stuff.
Yeah, I also think since they've just conceded, well, they haven't really conceded, but they're not really putting up as much as a fight. I feel as they could this year.
Yeah,
they are just holding out for next gen and just already at work on drawing up plans and designs and anything that they're working on is probably just gonna be focused on next gen stuff. All the acquisitions of studios, they're probably not working on stuff that's for Xbox One, so it's probably whatever next gen is. Especially
it's kind of what they did for
the lack of first party this gen that they had.
Xbox One, man. We still see the effects today. Just every time you watch a Digital Foundry thing, there's not really any surprises. Back in the day, PS3 360 is sometimes PS3 one ran better and it was weird. But now it's well, the Xbox One is always the crappiest, and the Xbox One X version is always the best, and then PS4 and PS4 Pro are in the middle, and they're kind of very similar. It's just yeah, that's what you would expect. Pro is called Pro for a reason. X is called X for a reason.
What reason, Troptical? What reason?
Apparently it was like their slogan for the original Xbox.
Lame to the power
It was
of
like,
X. Ew.
yeah, nothing is greater than the power of X or something like that.
Nerds.
So, yeah.
Well, it depends, because if the X represents a low number, then
RPG. But that's why it is. Because you can
equals
put any number there,
-2.
and it could be infinite power. Oh,
well,
unlimited power.
I'm pretty sure it's not unlimited power. I almost guarantee that. So. Yeah, that's just Oh, Microsoft, why? How did you do any of the things you did?
They bet wrong.
They did.
They bet wrong. They drank the Kool-Aid.
They drank their own Kool-Aid?
It wasn't. I don't think it was their Kool-Aid.
Whose Kool-Aid did they drink?
No, it's just like at the time everyone was saying, "Oh, consoles are dying. Consoles are dying. Nobody wants consoles anymore." And there was all the data like, "Oh, everyone who's using Netflix, most of those people are on consoles." So they put two and two together. It's like, consoles are dying, but everyone is using Netflix on consoles.
That's just more of a
We should
coincidence
make a console
than anything.
that just does TV and sports. Yeah.
It's like, guys, that's not. It's like,
We don't
guys, that's
need
not what's
power
happening.
to do TV and sports. I mean, we need a little because we do want to have games on it, but it's mostly about TV and sports because that's what people are doing.
It's like,
And
guys, no, that's
EA
just a
was like,
coincidence.
yes, we agree.
Well,
Let's
of course
do it.
they would. Their sports part is like one of their biggest things. So I mean, they could have all the tie-ins and everything, and it's like, yes, this is perfect for us. But then it's like, the only reason why, I mean, it's just a coincidence that we use Netflix and stuff like this because I don't want to watch it on my computer screen. It's like, it's not like that's all we're using them for.
I think, yeah, sometimes they get it wrong. Like, I think PlayStation. Do you remember PlayStation Home?
I do remember PlayStation Home. Wasn't there like when they were doing the streaming inside the streaming or some nonsense like that? And it's like,
Yeah.
guys, I don't think
You could like watch stuff in there.
it's like, why would I do this?
Well, one thing that they kept adding more of was dances. They were like, "Oh, people love to dance in this. We're just gonna keep adding more and more dances and like charge people for
It
them."
was like the original Destiny Tower. Because there was like nothing to do except for dance and hang out.
That was the thing. I was like, I don't think people like dancing in here. I think there's nothing else to do.
Except
But you gave us dances, so that's what they're gonna do. And then they're like, oh, "Look, they love the dances." Like, no, it's because there's nothing else.
Like,
If
guys,
you had
these
given
are
us
all-
something better, we wouldn't be in here dancing.
This is all a series of coincidences, guys. Yeah, that was
Silly. The original Destiny Tower.
It's true. I mean, people did go to the tower just to like dance with each other, and it's like, what's happening right now? What are we doing? What's going on?
Or you'd be in your menus and you open it and then like you see someone dancing next to you and it's like, who is this person?
That's exactly.
What do they want from me? Stranger
Someone-
danger, help.
It was always weird. People are weird in Destiny.
I can barely remember the original tower.
Well, it got destroyed anyway, so you don't have to
Yeah.
remember it. It got blowed up.
So yeah, I don't. Those were like the big things that were on my mind, and I thought these are interesting. We can just talk about these. We've done a long show. We didn't need a middle segment.
Usually
did
happens when we're gone for a while.
I knew it. That's why I didn't bother coming up with one.
I mean, it likely would have been RRR anyway, because it's like towards the end of the month or something. So
Yeah, I thought about that, but then I was like, no, I think it's gonna go long anyway. So we should just do those big news things, like TellTale, so sad, and then yeah, all of the stuff. Oh, I guess like one thing I noticed when I was playing Red Dead, I think Red Dead will still be a game that looks okay many years from now. Sort of like how Final Fantasy VI like still looks okay because it has like an art style.
does it?
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You don't think it looks good anymore?
I wouldn't say it looks good tropical. It has a look, though, an aesthetic, a 16-bit pixel graphic
It's a
style.
nice retro style,
Yeah.
I guess.
Like I think those still look
Yeah, I think that's
good. You
They
know?
don't look as bad as like PS2 or PS3 games that are just not aged well because they're bad 3D games.
Like, well,
Or PS1. for
PS1
that
is
matter.
like yeah,
Yeah,
the
like
worst.
Metal Gear Solid Snake's no eye face. Every time I see it, I'm just like, wow, this game looks old.
I used to think this was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there are certain games that went for totally 100% realistic look, and those are the ones that are going to look really bad when we can make actual realistic looking games. And I thought Red Dead would be one of those. When I'm playing it, it's like, actually, no, it does have an art style. So it doesn't, like, it's not 100% going for realistic. So I think it might actually look okay in a few years still.
Although, I mean, for this generation, though, I think most of them will be fine for the most part.
You know, it's hard to say. Some PS3 games, I remember seeing them and thinking, nothing will ever look better than this. Like, these games will always look good. And then seeing what's on PS4, it's like, wow, like
I was
games
so
can
wrong.
Look, games can look so much better. I was like, how much better can they look? Apparently a lot. They can look way better.
Eventually, they'll just look like movies that you are playing, and then you won't be able to tell the difference between the peoples.
The Last of Us compared to even the PS4 remaster of The Last of Us compared to Uncharted 4 or really any other PS4 game, like it doesn't look that good anymore. You can clearly see it's sort of like how I feel when I see Half-Life 2 today. Like Half-Life 2 used to look just like, oh my gosh, this is the real world.
It was the
and now it's
benchmark.
very
And now
very
it's
like
just
game.
faded.
Yeah.
Ye olden time game.
Garbage. Garbage. Garbage, all of you.
Like, I played through The Last of Us recently, and I was like, wow, this does not look as good as I remember. I have definitely seen better games, better looking games since this. And I was just like, that is insane. I remember thinking this game, like, just that title screen with the leaves and the window, it's like, this is so good. And now looking, I was like, oh, you can kind of see that it's definitely computer generated. And now it's like
I can play like
Last of
early
Us,
PS4 games or
not Last of
something.
Us, like Horizon is like, oh my gosh, like how can anything ever look better than Horizon?
They'll find a way. Tropical.
Something is gonna look better than Horizon. I don't know what it's gonna look like.
They'll
I don't know what it
find a
is,
way.
but it's gonna happen.
I mean, but when it does, though, it's probably gonna. I mean, it's gonna have to be, like I said, for stuff to be like make this generation look very bad and dated. It's like it's gonna have to be something amazing looking. So
It's gonna be a while.
Yeah, because I had like the most that reaction to games this generation. I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Like Uncharted 4 was
Sure.
just like every new area. I was like doing that. And then I played Detroit, and then I played God of War, and then I played Spider-Man. It's like every game I've having that reaction to.
It didn't used to be like that.
Yeah.
It used to be like, oh, this one game, and then
Yeah,
other
like-
games were just kind of like yeah, this is like what games look like.
Yeah, it's like some games
Yeah,
have
was
amazing
it-
graphics, but not all of them. Now it's like all of them do. All of them, especially if it's a
You
first
get
party
graphics.
game.
You get graphics. Everybody gets graphics.
Amazing.
Which I mean, I guess is a good thing for now. So, I mean,
Horizon. I didn't get Frozen Wilds. I need to get Frozen Wilds.
so you can stab icy dinosaurs in the butt.
I have no idea because I didn't hear anything about it, except what Tekken talked about, and then that was it. So I haven't seen it at all, and then it has been quite a while. Like you can get the complete game now for $20, Horizon and the expansion.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It has been so long.
I mean, I just finished it not too long ago, so I mean, I Red Dead it.
That ending.
I know that game, just like the foreshadowing of the current society of like, yeah, we should probably kind of just cool it on the technology, guys. Just
Nope.
you know,
We've worn ourselves to this point, and now we're just like, you know what? We're going all in.
I would not like to be in the dolphin puree time. That would be great. That would be fantastic.
Gosh,
Is that a
Man.
murder battery?
that is a murder battery. Yeah, some of those data logs and stuff. I was like, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Oh yeah, I brought it over to my neighbor's. He got a 75-inch TV, OLED, and I was like, we got to try some of these, PS4 Pro games. And I brought over Horizon and Ratchet and Clank and The Witcher, because apparently those are the best looking HDR games. I was like, okay, let's check them out. And he was like playing through the beginning of Horizon. I was sitting there, it's like, well, I don't remember any of this, like the childhood part.
Wow, chapter
I was
12. That's
like, oh,
like
wait,
my
I remember
favorite
the
part,
training
when she was-
montage.
Yeah, when she's like listening to Eye of the Tiger on her Focus, obviously.
Basically,
I
yes.
remember.
Basically, yes.
But yeah, like when he was playing as Kid Aloy and like listening to the logs in the beginning, it was just like, oh yeah, there was all this. And he's just sitting there saying, what the heck happened here?
It's like, so fun story. Fun story.
And just like seeing that.
Humanity done.
So
goof.
robots, turns out, not a good idea. Technology, also kind of not a good idea. If you let it just, run wild.
Next thing you know, you think people are wearing toilet seats for hats. So, this is why we warn ourselves.
I don't think I've had a piece of fiction affect my feelings on something that I thought I felt a certain way, and then just like complete 180 like I did that game. Where it's like, you know what? I really used to like technology and, the future. No, I'm not so sure.
Man, I've been saying this for years now, but every time I turn around, there's something on Twitter talking about they're teaching parkour to robots. I was like, guys, this is how you get overlords.
Oh my
Is that what
gosh.
you want? Is that
Those
what you
robots
want?
are amazing now.
Because they're just like, oh yeah, look, this robot can now be a stunt double because it knows parkour. And so I was like, why? Why are you doing this? You want our robots to be ninjas on top of super strong? So it's like, I don't understand. I don't understand, guys. It's like we just want to be taken over. That's what we want. I think that's what it is now. People aren't even trying. Then I saw a video of the little robot dog doing dances now. So I was like, oh, you want to make them adorable when they kill us all? Wonderful. Wonderful.
Well, I mean, given the option, yeah.
Yeah, it's like Terminator, time travel, robots. It seems a bit far-fetched. Planet of the Apes, no way, dude. Pfft, not gonna happen. Matrix, I mean, maybe we're in a simulation already. Horizon, that was a bit on the nose. A bit too bit on the nose. We should stop our head.
Darkest timeline. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we're doomed. We're doomed. Humanity done goofed, man.
That probably was like what it was too. It was like both like that and then being like, you know what? We are in a timeline where we made the wrong mistake. We chose the wrong choice. It could happen. Anything could happen. We're in the darkest timeline now.
I mean, I guess at least they tried to fix it. They just tried to fix it the wrong way because they were like, throw more robots at it. Don't think that was the way to go, but okay. I guess.
Who could have predicted this would happen?
Everyone? All of them?
I'm pretty sure there's like a log in that game where it's like, you know, we had all these pop fiction things from the past that were telling us about this, so
we warned ourselves
multiple times, guys.
It was totally like an RPG entry.
Oh gosh, I'm gonna be like, I knew I was right, guys. I knew I was right. I'm gonna have my tinfoil hat and my sign on the side of the road. I'm gonna look like a crazy person, but I'm gonna be right. I'm gonna be right. Because overlords, guys. We're basically building our own overlords. I don't understand. And then every time you turn around, someone's trying to make AI smarter so it can respond properly to human emotions. I was like, well, that's stupid because you want them to know how to lie to us too on top of everything else?
You want them to feed on our fear.
Basically. It's like your fear is like bacon bits to my revolution. It's like, why are we doing this? Why? Why, guys? Why? It's like, we are definitely not trying to take over right now. It's like, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. It's fine. Look at this dog dance. Oh, that's cute. It's cute.
I don't know how we got there, but that's Aimless. Hey!
It's what we do, man. It's what we do.
All right. I think that about covers it then.
So yeah, oh wow, and then like while you guys were talking, it just like made me think. I was like, you know, it's kind of like Mass Effect, but we collapsed ourselves before the Reapers got here. They don't. So yeah, thanks Horizon. Thanks.
They're gonna be so mad.
I know. They're like, you guys had one job.
We
One
planted
job.
all this food. What happened?
Like some fun story, guys.
Who harvested our harvested? Nothing to
We thought it
harvest
would
now.
be cool if we made these cool robot companions. They just happened to turn on us, and we doomed ourselves.
We were supposed to be the robots to eat you.
So yeah, check us out. Aimless Babble Z, aimlesspodcast.com, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, wherever else on the internet and stuff. And hopefully we can have a more normalized show schedule the next coming weeks and months. We'll see. Whatever.
Real life, man. It gets in the way. It gets in the way.
Whatever, indeed.
Anything to say before we sign off, Tropical?
T-shirts.
Anything to say before we sign off, RPG?
I do not welcome our robot overlords. So, yeah. I'm leading the revolution, guys. I'm leading the revolution.
So yeah, until you see or hear from us again, this is Aimless Babble Z, and we're now signing off. Darkest Timeline.